everyone. Welcome back to another episode or spine number of Chasing Labels. I am your host, Andrew Cabral. This is yet again, like I said, another spine number. This is spine number 188. We're back here on a little bit of a different schedule than we were. This is just kind of a one-off thing. It's not going to be a regular thing. We did have an episode / spine number last week, which was number 187. I was joined with my friend Dustin, and he was lucky. Well, I was lucky enough to have him join me last time, and I believe I teased on that episode that we will be having one in 1 week's time, and we are back here already. This is April 6th, and the reason being why we're doing this, one, because the Vinegar Syndrome and partner label stuff dropped literally 2 days after that episode, and I wanted to get that out so that those things don't pack onto the next episode. And also for a bit of a scheduling thing, we wanted to do an episode this week, but there will also be, we'll go back to our originally scheduled intervals of episodes of Chasing Labels. So in 2 weeks' time, we will have episode number 189. So this is kind of a one-off here, but we do have some things to talk about. First of all, there's going to be a little bit of a different format we're trying out right now, where I will be sharing my screen, so you will get to see what I see all of the details and the pictures of these releases that we're going to talk about here. For those of you joining me here on Chasing Labels for the first time, welcome. And also, this is the podcast, the YouTube channel, the YouTube live stream of just exploring various announcements in the boutique label world of movies, of physical media releases, Blu-rays, 4Ks, and yeah, it's only within the last 2 weeks or so from the previous episode until now. It's not everything. It's only stuff that I'm typically interested in adding to my collection, or things I'm just interested in general. Perhaps you'll be interested in that as well. You can cover everything, but man, it would be time consuming. It would be very, very time consuming. Let me make sure my camera is adjusted correctly here. And yeah, so not much else to get into. There will be a new episode of another show we do here on Chasing Labels called The Unwatched Pile. That will be coming up this Saturday, the 11th. And it is the episode where we take something off of our unwatched pile of stacks of movies that we've bought in over the years. Could be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 10 year, 15 years, who knows? We're always buying, we're always stacking stuff to watch for later. We take that off of that shelf, we watch it, and then we pair it up with another movie in our collection. It will be myself, it will be Stephen Billings, and we will be having a guest on as well at that time. This week also, we will be doing a review of a couple of Criterion releases for the month of April. The one that I will be doing a review of is the John Singleton Hood Trilogy box set, and this is the 4K box set that includes Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, and Baby Boy. I have that here, and this was one that was buzzed about when it was announced. I believe Boys in the Hood has been in the Criterion collection before. It was released on Laserdisc way back in the day, but it's nice that it is making a reappearance in the Criterion collection. Also, I've heard that the 4K of Boys in the Hood looks very, very good. So I will be watching it I will be watching it in 4K for the first time. I've seen it before a couple of times. It is a cinema staple, I think, for a lot of cinephiles and film buffs. But yeah, I will be talking about this. I believe Steven will be talking about what movies he can talk. I think it's an Ernst Lubitsch film. Let me check. Actually, to make sure. Yeah, Trouble in Paradise, which is a great Ernst Lubitsch film. He'll be talking about the 4K of that. We will be combining powers, combining forces to talk about both of those releases from Criterion. And that will be coming up tentatively on Wednesday, so just a couple of days from now. And that's kind of it. I don't have a lot. I don't have anything to show in terms of a collection update because I didn't really get anything over the last week or so. The week goes by very fast. I thought 2 weeks in between episodes goes by very fast. 1 week is like you blink and you're back again. But we will be getting into Vinegar Syndrome and their partner labels. Imprint had another drop once again. I think they've had 4 or 5 announcement drops in the last 3 weeks or so, and we will be talking about, of course, a couple of Kino releases. Severin announced 3 things as well, and, I think there's one more after that, but it will be either in the notes below. We'll get to it. But there are some comments here I want to get to before we dive into things. Acres of Movies is here, excited for the program. Thanks, you're welcome. Acres of Movies also here, ready for the best intro song ever. Nice. I'm glad you like it. Steven made that years ago. It's nothing to do with me. Last week's was great. Happy for this one too. Thank you, Acres of Movies, for all the support. Two Gene Hackman ones wanted to see if you've seen Misunderstood and Twice in a Lifetime. I don't think I've seen either of those Gene Hackman films. I hope they get special editions. I feel like with Gene Hackman's passing now, there's going to be maybe a fervor to get more of his stuff out that we haven't gotten already. Perhaps some re-releases of stuff that's been out for quite a while. Josephine is here. Josie's here. Hello, Andrew. New watches this week. The Apostle from '97. That is the movie starring Robert Duvall. Beach Blanket Bingo from '65. That's a fun one. Computer Chess from 2013. I think that's the documentary. Yeah, I think that's the documentary. Cold Comfort Farm from '95. That's nice. Fly Away Home from '96. Now, Fly Away Home is something from my childhood. I believe that's the movie starring Anna Paquin, as well as, is that Jeff Daniels? Yeah, it's the father and daughter, and she raises these I think they're little ducks. I believe they're ducks. And she raises them, and then she has to teach them how to fly, and she creates this this not contraption. I forgot what they're called. The hang glider. She creates like this hang glider to teach them how to fly. It's a wonderful family film from the '90s. That is the movie Fly Away Home, and then Mr. Majestic from '74. That's the Charles Bronson film, Mr. Majestic. Really, really good. Really, really good. So, like I said, we're going to be trying something new here. And the new thing that I'm trying is I'm going to be sharing my screen, essentially. It's something we've talked about doing here on Chasing Labels before, but I've never really delved into it. Thanks to my producer and pal, Stephen Billings. He kind of taught me how to do this on the fly earlier, so we shall see how it goes. So I'm going to add the extra screen that, of course, let's see. Oh, I've got to, hold on. You can only add one thing. That's why. See, I'm already screwing up. See, here we go. So, as you can see here on the screen next to me or on the screen in front of you, is my screen that's got a few tabs up already. I got Vinegar Syndrome, I've got Imprint, I've got, the Treasured Films release, and I've got Severin up already. I'll be adding more to that. So, let me see how this goes. So I guess we will start with Imprint, since I've got them up already. This is their Imprint May 2026 bundle. As you can see, you can either buy, these are already all out of stock. That was quick. Yeah, needless to say, you could have bought in these if they didn't go out of stock already. Why are these all out of stock? Anywho, we will go over them nonetheless. So we've got the movie Framed, the movie starring Joe Don Baker. These are all 70s action movies, actually. The Boys from Brazil from 1978. That movie is really good. I've always wanted that movie in my collection. We have Escape to Athena, the Cassandra Crossing, and Cannon for Cordoba. And we also have Raise the Titanic from 1980. And we have The Ninth Gate. So the Ninth Gate was announced literally the day after the last episode of Chasing Labels. This is their 4K big old collector's edition hard box, all the bells and whistles that they put out with their 4K releases. I think that's the first one we will get into. So clicking on this here, please let me know if you guys can see this, if it's in focus for you or anything like that. Like I said, we're trying this out for the first time, seeing how it goes. As you can see here, we got The Ninth Gate. This is the Roman Polanski film from 1999. This is the movie starring primarily Johnny Depp. I think Frank Langella is in the film as well. And yeah, this is a movie I actually watched for the first time. I've known of this movie for years upon years, because it's been in many a bargain bin on Blu-ray for a very long time. You could have probably many of you have this movie in your collection already because the Blu-ray was always so cheap, and at least the Region A US Blu-ray specifically. But um, this is of the Ninth Gate, and it's collection number 364. That's a lot of releases. So, without further ado, let me just zoom in on this because I can't see anything. The only thing more terrifying than searching for the devil is finding him. Loosely based on the Arturo Perez Revert novel, The Club Dumas, this cult neo-noir thriller stars Johnny Depp, Lena Olin, Frank Langella, James Russo, directed by Roman Polanski. A rare book dealer who specializes in books on Satanism is hired to recover a 17th century text with cryptic illustrations supposedly contributed by Lucifer himself. His investigation takes him to Europe, where bizarre deaths inspired by the book's morbid illustrations befall those who come into contact with it, except himself. It's a limited 4K UHD and Blu-ray hardbox with exclusive 60-page hardback booklet, plus hours of special features, limited 1,500 copies. And let's see, those special features are, and I think this is a 3-disc set. Okay. So, disc 1 is the 4K. You got the movie, obviously. You got an audio commentary by director Roman Polanski, Dancing with the Devil interview with actress Emanuela Senior, a page-turning perfectionism interview with actor James Russo, Unlocking the Ninth Gate interview with cinematographer Darius Kanji, making of archival featurette, satanic drawings, let's see, satanic drawings, art gallery, promotional interviews, storyboards, trailers, Dolby Atmos and Dolby Digital 5.1. Disc 2 is obviously, I think, the movie on Blu-ray, as well as an audio commentary by Troy Haworth and Mondo's Digital Nathaniel Thompson. Audio commentary by author David Huckvale. Audio commentary by director Roman Polanski. I pretty sure that's the same one from the 4K disc. Let's see. The Devil is a Woman, Female Representation of Satan in Cinema, video essay by film critic Sally Christie from 2024. Let's see. Disc 3, more special features, which is Dancing with the Devil interview with actress Emanuel Senior, a page-turning perfectionism. This seems to be like some of the special features that are already listed above. Encyclopedia Satanica interview feature with writer Gary Lockman, author and historian Mitch Horowitz, and occult historian and collector Brandon Hodge. Occult Classics, analysis of the film and score with Dr. David Huckvale. Lucifer's Version, sideshow of illustrations from the novel El Club Dumas, with commentary by Dr. David Huckvale. Inside Roman Polanski archival featurette, promotional interviews, making of archival featurette, and then satanic drawings art gallery. And then you have the 60-page hardback booklet as well. So if you've gotten some of these 4K big old deluxe editions from Imprint before, you kind of understand what they come with. A lot of extras, a lot of discs, big old book as well. And this is the one of the Ninth Gate. I know there are probably going to be a lot of fans of this movie who will be getting this. After seeing the movie for the first time, I certainly understand the movie's cult appeal. And I'm not using that term in a funny way. The movie is about like satanic cults and all this kind of stuff. Like I said, I've heard about this movie for years. It's part of this long line of, like I said, satanic cult movies dealing with Satan and the devil and Lucifer and all kinds of stuff like that. It's a subgenre of horror, if you will. Johnny Depp, I think, is rather good in the movie. Frank Langella is good in the movie. The story is intriguing and mysterious, and it plays out rather well. It's overall good. It's decent movie. I don't think it's amazing in any way. Yeah, that's the Ninth Gate. I don't have a lot of overwhelmingly positive things to say about it, but nothing really super negative about it either. So let's see what else we've got here from Imprint. Let's go over to, I guess, work our way backwards. So I did not get to see Raise the Titanic, so don't have much to say about the movie, other than the fact that it's getting, a pretty nice hardbox release, a 2-disc hardback release. So, Let's see. Let me zoom in here because I can't see. They said God himself couldn't sink it. Now they say that no man could raise it. An extremely rare mineral could tip the balance of the Cold War, and the USA is determined to have it. The only problem is there's only one place on Earth it can be obtained: the wreck of the Titanic. Well, damn it, that seems to be a tough place to get to. But with the Soviets also trying to locate the mineral, the two superpowers find themselves in a deadly race against time to do the impossible and raise the Titanic. What is interesting is the 1980s was around the time that they discovered the wreck of the Titanic, I think. And people started going down to it. Of course, famously, we know of the James Cameron movie. We know of James Cameron's fascination with deep sea diving, as well as diving down to the Titanic as well. And I believe, I don't know if there's been efforts to raise the ship or if they've discussed it over the years, but I think the idea is that it's too damaged to raise it. If they would try to raise the Titanic, it would fall apart on its way up. I believe that's been the issue. Which makes a lot of sense. The water pressure down there, the further you go down into the ocean, the more pressure there is. So trying to raise it up would probably cause it to collapse because of decay and all that kind of stuff. If you ever get a chance to see footage of, you know, submersibles going down to the Titanic to see it and whatnot, it's quite remarkable. It is quite remarkable. But this movie, I guess, is playing on the idea that, oh, there's this rare mineral down there, just happens to be near the Titanic. The Soviets want to get it, but we've got to get it before they do because it can be used in the Cold War, all this kind of stuff. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know much about it. It's based on a novel by Clive Cussler, who wrote a lot of these, thrillers, if you will. You see his books in every bookstore. You'll see him right next to like John Grisham and Lee Child and all kinds of these other big time authors and whatnot. Let's see who's in this movie. The film features Richard Jordan, who was in Logan's Run, Aaron Archer, David Selby, Jason Robards is in the movie. Sir Alec Guinness. Wow, they've misspelled Alec Guinness. They put Alex Guinness. Oh, and legendary James Bond composer John Barry does the score. So we've got a limited edition 2-disc hardbox, 80-page hardback book. Let's see, disc 1 has got the movie, lighting the Titanic, rare alternate scene, theatrical trailer. No, it's not much there. But the second disc is where we get some good stuff. New interview with Raise the Titanic historian Jonathan Smith. New Sinking a Sunken Ship interview with assistant editor Jeffrey Mackerel. Mackerel, water. If you get the nautical reference there, that's kind of funny. New Muller in Malta interview with production manager Frederick Muller. That's cool. The Last Great Human Adventure, rare 1980 TV documentary on Raise the Titanic. Test footage of unused 1912 opening sequence. Let's see, time-lapse footage of the Titanic model over the decades, 3 original radio ads, John Barry's isolated score, accompanied with comprehensive image gallery, and then there's a booklet, like I said, 80 pages with all kinds of stuff in it. Like I said, that's the movie Raise the Titanic. I've not seen it, so I don't have much to say about it. Let's see, moving on from there, we'll go up to, Canon to Cordoba, which I have seen. I actually watched this last night. So we've got something to work with here. So this is a movie from 1971. At least that's the date I saw on it. But either way, it's around that time frame. And this movie is a favorite of, I believe, Quentin Tarantino, because this movie stars George Peppard, whom he is a big fan of. And let's see, this movie's set around, I think, 1912. Let me read this here. When Mexican rebel leader Hector Cordoba steals 6 cannons from the U.S. Army, it's up to Captain Rod Douglas to pursue him and ensure the weapons are never used on the American people. Douglas gathers a ragtag team to travel 200 miles south into Cordoba's mountain fortress, but can Douglas trust his own team, and will their own agendas end up sabotaging the mission? George Peppard, who was in How the West Was Won, but he's been in many other movies, heads up to his classic Men on a Mission Western adventure, described by Cordoba fan Quentin Tarantino as a damn exciting script. I would agree with that. The movie definitely moves along quick, and it's a fun adventure film. It, it's definitely a product of its time, and I say that because seemingly all of the Mexican roles were played by white actors, and it's really obvious. But obviously, product of its time, like I just said, it's 1970s Hollywood movie. Don't expect um, racial accuracy. Don't expect cultural accuracy. Don't expect any of that. But for special features, you get the movie in high definition. There's a new audio commentary by film historian Toby Rohn. There's a new Leftover Lasagna, The Many Layers of Cordoba video essay by film historian Eric Clapp. And then a theatrical trailer, and then a rare 1980s Australian TV promo. And that is it. That is it. I think it's more fortunate that we get guess the movie in high definition in general than anything else. Let's see. And the movie, like I said, is pretty decent. It's nothing like amazingly great. It moves quick. George Peppard, I think, is good in it. The story's got a lot of action, so that's entertaining. Um, the bad guy villain is exactly what you would expect. Um, he's evil. He's definitely a foil to our, I guess, somewhat typical protagonist in George Peppard, but yeah, it's a fine movie. It's a fine movie. Let's see, that is the movie, the Canon for Cordoba. I think I watched it. I think I watched it on Tubi. Yeah, I think I watched it on Tubi. Moving on from there, we've got The Cassandra Crossing. This is a movie from 1976. This stars Richard Harris and Sophia Loren, and it's just an interesting movie. I was expecting it to be a little bit different than what it was. Let me read it. It's called, like I said, it's called The Cassandra Crossing. At noon on October 25th, the Transcontinental Express left Geneva Station with almost 1,000 people aboard. Their destination: Basel, Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and Stockholm. No one arrived. A man infected with a U.S.-made biological weapon. They don't really specify. It's kind of like it's like a plague. It's like it's a plague. Um, and it's yeah, it's yeah, what happens is, okay, so at the beginning of the movie, these three like terrorists are breaking into like this US scientific compound or building, if you will, that's in Geneva, and they get stopped by the security that's there, and there's a shootout that happens. A couple of them dies, but one of them escapes. But before they escape, they are exposed to this plague thing that's in one of the laboratories, and now he's sick and gets on a train. And obviously, when you get on the train, you can spread it to other people. What's his name is in this movie as well, who plays like a military doctor. Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster plays a military doctor who's like responsible for this building, and so he's in communication with like his higher ups. He's in communication with Richard Harris, who's on the train. And what happens is like they've got to like quarantine this train. They can't let the people out, and so the people start panicking. Um, and then obviously things escalate from there. And a star-studded cast. This movie has, but like I said, Burt Lancaster, Richard Harris, Sophia Loren, Ava Gardner is in the movie, Lee Strasberg, Martin Sheen, young Martin Sheen is in this movie. This would be a couple of years before Apocalypse Now, and obviously from any other work he did in the 80s. Obviously, this would be before Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen were acting. So they were in the movie. O.J. Simpson was in the movie as an actor, and this was still during his playing career when he was doing like side jobs as being an actor in movies. Yeah, it's Jerry Goldsmith does the composing. Yeah, this is an interesting movie. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than what it was, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I was actually expecting kind of like a Dawn of the Dead, or I was expecting something to be a little bit more exploitative. A Dawn of the Dead, something like George A. Romero's The Crazies or something like that, where this disease got on a train and started to spread to these people, and they started becoming zombies or started becoming uh, crazy or something like that. No, they just get sick and die. So it's a lot more realistic than I was expecting. And yeah, let's get into what's on this actual release. So you get the movie in 1080p high definition. There's a new special feature here called The Entertainer, the films of George P. Cosmatos. That's right, George P. Cosmatos is the director of this movie. Um, he went on to direct like Tombstone and several other movies that I can't remember off the top of my head. There's a video essay by film historian. That's the video essay by film historian Jeremy Smith. There's another new special feature called Infectious Narratives, interview with University of Hull doctoral researcher and host of Pandemic Pages podcast, Lucille Harrison, on pandemics in cinema. That does seem to be a bit of a subgenre. This kind of infectious diseases subgenre of cinema, where you have these movies based around this disease getting out and like the global effects of it. I mean, we've seen it in movies like Outbreak. We've seen it in movies like the Steven Soderbergh movie, Contagion. Right, it's Contagion. Yeah. And we've seen that. Heck, we've seen that happen in real life just a few years ago. We're going back. We don't have to go back that far. 6 years ago, there was a massive infectious disease breakout with COVID, where people had to be quarantined, places were shut down, life was just affected greatly. So we saw the fiction become reality. So we've seen it happen. But yeah, what else is in it? Oh, just archival behind the scenes featurettes as well as theatrical trailers. So that's the movie, The Cassandra Crossing. And there's some really good sequences here of like train action where people have to do various things on trains, like go on top of trains and stuff like that. Yeah, it's another solid movie that's okay from the 70s. So that's the Cassandra Crossing from 1976. Let's see what else we've got here. The Boys from Brazil. Now this is a movie. I heard about this movie I heard about this movie when I was a kid in the 90s, years ago. My uncle told me about this movie back then. My uncle was a big cinephile, and he taught me about a lot of movies. And this was one that he mentioned a long time ago. It's the movie Boys from Brazil, or The Boys from Brazil. Let's see. If they survive, will we? Barry Kohler is a young Nazi hunter on the trail of former SS officers who evaded justice after World War II, led by the monstrous Dr. Mengele. The group gathers in Paraguay with plans to establish new Nazi regimes all across the world. But what do the mysterious deaths of civil servants have to do with this plan, and what horrible secret lies in the identity of their identical sons? Based on the suspenseful novel by Ira Levin, and directed by Academy Award-winning filmmaker Franklin J. Schaffner, who directed Patton and Planet of the Apes. The Boys from Brazil was hailed by the Washington Post as an impressive feat of carefully designed and modulated academic filmmaking, a class job in the tradition of Hitchcock or Wyler at their most polished. That is very complimentary, very complimentary. The film was nominated for 3 Oscars, including Best Actor for Laurence Olivier, who stars alongside Gregory Peck, James Mason, Denholm Elliott, Lily Palmer, Rosemary Harris, and Steve Guttenberg. An early role from Steve Guttenberg. I remember him in this movie. It's been a few years since I've seen it. But this movie, while based on a novel, obviously novels are fictional, it plays on this idea that so after World War II, or towards the end of World War II, mostly after, a lot of Nazis fled to South America, specifically places like Paraguay, Argentina, places like that, and they fled from being held accountable for their actions during the war and pre-war years. And I guess a lot of conspiracy theories were thought up that they would be starting a new Nazi regime in other places in the world, and they would be, they'd be coming back, making a comeback. Ironically, I say this with somewhat seriousness. Their ideologies never really went away. If you just look at the world we live in today, look at the online discourse, look at the real world discourse, look at people that live just amongst us, their ideologies, their thought processes, their philosophies, their way of life, their thinking never really has gone away. And this novel and this movie kind of plays on that idea that, what if they are working behind the scenes and doing something really, really sinister? And that's kind of what The Boys from Brazil is about. I don't want to give away any of the heart of the mystery of the movie or the novel, because then that would ruin it for you all. But for some special details on this release, there's a new interview. New interviews with key production crew about the making of The Boys from Brazil, theatrical trailers, Super 8 cut down a version of the movie, isolated score, and that's about it. That's kind of underwhelming. Now, let me take a look over at Blu-ray.com for a second, as you can see here on my screen, because there was a Boys from Brazil Blu-ray that's been available from Shout Factory for years. It's been available, as you can see here on the screen, from 2015. So that is an 11-year-old Blu-ray, and I'm just curious what's on that release. So let me get you guys focused in on here. There is Laurence Olivier from the mid to late 1970s. There is Gregory Peck with a mustache. There's Steve Guttenberg looking all sweaty. Let's see what we got here for special features. Oh, nothing. Just a theatrical trailer. Okay. So I guess we do get an extra feature that's not on the Shout Factory release. Okay, I just want to do a little compare and contrast. But we'll keep this up for future purposes if we need it. Let me go back to The Boys from Brazil. So that's that release with like at least one special feature that's or two special features that's not on the Shout Factory release. But yeah, The Boys from Brazil, that's that movie I've always actually liked. Now we have the movie Framed. I think, let's see, what did I skip over something? I think I did. I skipped over Escape to Athena. You know what? We'll do Framed and then we'll do Escape to Athena. So Framed is an action movie with Joe Don Baker from 1975. I've not seen this movie, so I don't have much to say about it. It says he was taken by everyone for everything he had. All he had left was one obsession: to get even, to pay them back 2 for 1. When gambler Ron Lewis is falsely accused of murder, he's confronted by a violent deputy sheriff and ends up killing the lawman in self-defense. Railroaded by the corrupt cops and scheming lawyers, Ron is put behind bars. When he eventually emerges, he embarks on a revenge tour of torment and torture against the people who wronged him. The final film of director Phil Carlson, who directed Kansas City Confidential and The Phoenix City Story, saw him reunited with his breakout Walking Tall star Joe Don Baker. That's right. Joe Don Baker, they credit here as being in Cape Fear and GoldenEye. He was in other movies than that, but he also had small roles in both of those movies. For a brutal, bloody tale of vengeance in America's Deep South. Now, let's see. For special features, we have a new audio commentary by author and film critic Will Sloan. There's a new feature here called Legacy of Brutality video essay featuring writer and film critic Nick Pinkerton on the, on the works of Phil Carlson and Joe Don Baker, and that is it. So that's the movie Frame. Like I said, didn't see it, so I don't have much to say about it. Other than I'm always a sucker for a good revenge story. So I forgot Escape to Athena. Now let's go over that really quickly. Yeah, so Escape from Athena from 1979. Let's see. When they wake up, there'll be a change of management. At the height of the Second World War in a Nazi POW camp on a Greek island, prisoners are worked to the bone unearthing ancient artifacts for Berlin. A local resistance movement plans to overthrow the occupiers, and the unexpected arrival of 2 USO artists could provide the opportunity they need. But even if they successfully expel the German invaders, who exactly will walk away with the island's valuable treasures? This thrilling and funny adventure was filmed on the island of Rhodes with director George P. Cosmatos, once again, taking full advantage of the extraordinary scenery and action-packed adventure, boasting one of the best motorcycle chases ever committed to film. The film stars Roger Moore, Telly Savalas, David Niven, Stephanie Powers, Elliot Gould, Claudia Cardinal, who just passed, actually, Richard Roundtree, and Sonny Bono. You got Shaft in there. Nice. So for special features, a new audio commentary by film historians Lee Pfeiffer, Hank Reinke, Paul Scrabo, theatrical trailer, TV spot, archival interviews on location with stars Elliot Gould, Roger Moore, Sonny Bono, Claudia Cardinal, Stephanie Powers, and Telly Savalas. Producers Jack Weiner and David Niven Jr., and director George P. Cosmato. So you got a lot of people with interviews there. But yeah, that's the movie. Escape to Athena. I think I saw it a couple of years ago. I remember it being pretty solid. With that cast alone, it's at least worth a watch. I mean, if you're a fan of any of those actors or actresses in it, you might as well give it a watch. And all of these are coming out. I don't know. It says they're April releases. I don't know. This is, yeah. It says May bundle, but also says April bundle. Either way, you got. Let's go over these one more time before we move on. So you've got Framed, The Boys from Brazil. You've got Escape to Athena, The Cassandra Crossing, Candid for Cordoba, Raising the Titanic, and then their 4K release, hardbox release of The Ninth Gate, the Roman Polanski film. So let me check some comments here. We have a few comments here. Let's see. I have not seen this yet. So Acres of Movies asks, have you seen the new one, She Dances, starring Steve Zahn, as best of the year so far? I have not. I've got to catch up on some more movies coming out this year, and I do have to start making my list. Heck, it's April already. I do have to start making my list of favorite movies of the year so far on Letterboxd, because I haven't done it yet, and we're already, like I said, we're already in April, so I feel like I got to do it soon. The thing is, I usually wait to make my list when there's a movie that really gets me. Like, that really is like, wow, this movie is exceptional. This is my favorite right now. Like don't set it in stone, but it's pretty damn good. Last year was Sinners, which came out, I think, last March. So when it's usually around this time where I see the movie that I'm like, this is one of my favorites of the year. I haven't hit that yet. I haven't. There's a couple up there right now that I really, really liked. I really liked 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. I thought was really good. I really liked the new Gore Verbinski film, which is, I forgot what it's called. But the new Gore Verbinski film, which is, what's it? Good Luck, Don't Die. Was it Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die? I think that's the movie. But yeah, I'm still waiting for that movie really to grab me. And then we have another one from Acres of Movies that says Marilyn Monroe comes back to life, and in 2025, who you get to direct her in a romantic thriller, Scorsese or Sam Mendes? Oh, Scorsese, why not? Just for the idea that Scorsese would get to direct Marilyn Monroe. Let's see. Acres of Movies says Misunderstood has Gene Hackman in Tunisia and Henry Thomas. I gotta check that out. Let's see. Well, that's an interesting question. It does kind of pertain to what we do here on Chasing Labels. So someone asked me the other day the difference between all the labels, and I was wondering if you could succinctly say which one is best at covering what kind of movies. Now, that is interesting because years ago, that question would have been a much easier one to ask. Much easier one to answer. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm about to sneeze. So years ago, the boutique labels were way more defined. Like, they were way more definitive in what the types of movies they put out. But since we've had this boom of boutique labels over the last 6 years or so, the lines get blurred a little bit. So, for example, years ago, Vinegar Syndrome primarily put out horror films, like cult movies from the 80s and 70s. Now they've put out everything. They still put out those things, and as well as 80s slashers. But now they have other lines where they put out like old horror black and white B movies from the 60s, or they put out like film noir B movies from the 40s, or they put out like modern day dramas with their cinematograph release. So not even modern day, but like dramas from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it's so weird and so different now. Severin primarily used to kind of just put out like not trashy horror, but they used to put out a lot of like just like horror stuff. And then now they put out things like Mike Lee's All or Nothing, or they put out Overboard, like you know what I mean, or they typically or they put out like um you know cult films from 70s and 80s. They put out Peter Cushing films. They put out Vincent Price films. They put out all kinds of stuff. When it comes to film noir, the label that seems to still put out a lot of film noir is Indicator and Kino. Like those two put out, I would say, the most film noir, because Kino's got their box sets, Indicator's got their box sets. You know what I mean? Um, Criterion, like Criterion used to be like the prestige films. Like the prestige films used to get Criterion releases. Now they put out kind of everything. They put out modern mainstream movies. They put out modern animated movies. They put out Wall-E. You know what I mean? They put out The Princess Bride. They put out Bull Durham. Heck, they put out Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. They put out The Shape of Water. And they all, but they'll also put out Citizen Kane. You know what I mean? So they do everything now. So all of these boutique labels now don't really stick in the same within the same genre. They kind of diversify now, which is great for us, I think, as collectors, in my opinion, because we get the best of everything. I don't That doesn't really answer your question. It doesn't really answer a lot of questions, but I actually do think about that a lot. Like what which labels do the best job with certain genres, or which labels typically focus in on certain genres. Arrow used to be primarily horror. Arrow used to be only horror. And now Arrow does everything. Heck, Arrow does they doing Hong Kong action films from the 80s. They've done Shaw Brothers box sets. They've done 90s blockbusters. Uh, you know what I mean? So they've kind of done it all. They're doing 90s horror within like In the Mouth of Madness. So they kind of doing it all right now. And I think the boutique labels, at least the bigger ones that we talk about here, they understand that they've got to dip themselves in different markets for different collectors, because collectors will buy. You know what I mean? I don't think they necessarily um I mean, there are certain gatekeeping, there are certain prejudices out there amongst collectors and whatnot, but still, I think primarily collectors just want the movies. And so, if they can get their hands on the movies, and if there's a market for them, they will go for it. They will go for it. Speaking of which, let's go over to Severin. Let me bring up Severin. Here they are. Here's the SeverinFilms.com website. So as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit just for my eyes' sake. We have, of course, the usual bundles that Severin does with their new releases. So they've got 3 releases. Let's concentrate on those right now. The Worlds of Lucille, name I cannot pronounce to save my life. Oh boy, excuse me, HADŽIHALILOVIĆ. Oh boy, that butchered that. The Sangster Celebration bundle. Actually, the Sangster Celebration. It's called Sangster Directs Hammer. That's what it is. Children of the Wicker Man is getting it's getting a Blu-ray release, and there's also a bundle with it as well. You can get the Wicker Man basket, which comes with the booklet and a couple of other things. And this is the Wicker Man, the Children of the Wicker Man. Sorry. So the Children of the Wicker Man, we will start with that one right away. I figured we'll go with that. So Sangster Directs Hammer, The Worlds of Lucille HADŽIHALILOVIĆ, and then we have Children of the Wicker Man. Let's start with that one. So Children of the Wicker Man is a documentary. It's a newer documentary, and this is about, as you can see here, let me actually read this here. Zoom in. With his 1973 directorial debut, Robin Hardy fought to craft what would eventually be recognized as one of the greatest horror movies ever made. But for his loved ones, Hardy created a very different kind of nightmare. Now art historian Dominic Hardy and filmmaker Justin Hardy, half-brothers and self-described far-flung spawn, explore their father's complicated legacy in this incredibly brave and touching documentary that will take you on a journey unlike any you've been on before. Um, and let's see. So this is a documentary about the children of the director of The Wicker Man and kind of their personal lives and what it was like being the children of this person. And apparently, it was not all sunshine and rainbows. From what I understand from this documentary, a lot of personal demons and grudges and all this kind of stuff gets unearthed in this documentary. And it's very, very interesting. It says here, through stacks of decades-old correspondences, a pilgrimage to the original locations, and new interviews with friends, family, and the movie's surviving personnel, Robinson's sons uncover the personal cost of the film's chaotic production, their father's war with Studio British Line, his bitter falling out with friend, business partner, and screenwriter Anthony Schaefer, the financial and sexual improprieties that tore families apart, and their own lifelong traumas as children of the Wicker Man. So it's about the making of the movie, the legacy of that movie, obviously from the personal feelings from the perspective of the children, as well as all the others involved with the movie. So a lot of things going on here. I didn't get to see it. It's not available to stream anywhere. So the fact that it's getting a Blu-ray release is really nice. So disc 1, audio interview with co-directors Justin Hardy, Dominic Hardy, and Chris Nunn, moderated by David Gregory. Children of the Wicker Man, Enigma, Q&A with co-directors Justin Hardy, Dominic Hardy, Chris Nunn, and producer Allison Palmer, making a featurette and a trailer, and that is it. That is it. I think this is only one disc. Okay, so that's that. That's that documentary, The Children of the Wicker Man. Let me see how things are actually looking here on the stream. Oh yeah, you guys can see me. You guys can see everything. I just wanted to make sure. So let's move over to the Sangster Directs Hammer box set. Like, this is a 7-disc set, 3 4Ks, 4 Blu-rays, plus a book. Now, Sangster is the director, and he directed a couple of Hammer films. Let's see. The mark that Jimmy Sangster left on the genre is deeper than any vampire bite. That's a good quote there. The North American UHD premieres of 3 classic films on 7 discs with an all-new 312-page book, holy heck, and 19 combined hours of special features. Once again, I was just mentioning, if there's one thing that Severin does very well in comparison to the other boutique labels, Severin does box sets very well. Their box sets are well constructed, chock full of discs and special features. Like, they go full tilt on these. There's a reason why they're not too expensive, but get these at the Severin sale or get them when they're on sale because they're well worth it. I have a few in my collection. I don't think I have any around me to show off. But there's actually some I still want to get. But that's neither here nor there. Let's read this. The screenplays for such 50s and 60s Hammer films classics as The Curse of Frankenstein, Horror of Dracula, The Mummy, and more. He became one of the very best writers in the genre, but when Jimmy Sangster returned to Hammer in the 70s to direct the only feature films of his career, he delivered 3 of the most unique shockers in the studio's history. In Horror of Frankenstein, starring Ralph Bates as the sociopathic monster maker, Sangster brings both black humor and deep red dismemberment to Mary Shelley's iconic tale. Sangster takes fanged lesbian desires to seductive new levels with Lust for a Vampire, featuring Ute Steinsgard as the titular bloodsucker. Judy Geeson, Ralph Bates, Joan Collins, and the legendary Peter Cushing star in Sangster's acclaimed Fear in the Night, a taut psycho thriller with a dark giallo edge. Each film is presented in UHD for the first time ever in North America, now scanned in a 4K from their original camera negative, by Studio Canal. This collection also includes 312-page book, like we said, 19 hours of special features. Let's dive into some of these discs and what they've got on them. Um, let's see. Disc 1, The Horror of Frankenstein. So this movie actually has a Blu-ray release here in the US already. It's now out of print. Um, it was put out by Shout Factory a few years ago. Now, I remember because, let's see, I spelled Frankenstein wrong. Now you guys get to see all of my misspellings. There's The Horror of Frankenstein. It came out in 2019. This is a movie that came out in 1970. As you can see, it is out of print. I mean, you could still buy a copy of this for $40 on Amazon, but I think you would rather put that money towards this Severin box set. Let's see. Scrolling down to, oh yeah, so this was chock full of quite a few special features. It had 2 commentaries, plus a bunch of other special features too. Oh, wow. I'm just curious if any of these are going to transfer over to the Severin set. Let's take a look. There's an audio commentary with producer slash co-writer director Jimmy Sangster, moderated by Hammer historians Marcus Hearn. Audio commentary with video watchdogs Tim Lucas. Then the second disc is the Blu-ray of The Horror of Frankenstein. You get the same 2 audio commentaries. You get Frankenstein Dracula in Me, archival interview with actress Veronica Carlson, reunion panel at the 1997 Festival of Fantastic Films Manchester with director Jimmy Sangster, actor Dave Prowse. Dave Prowse would be the monster, the Frankenstein's monster, and actress Veronica Carlson, moderated by Wayne Kinsey. Let's see, younger Frankenstein interview with second assistant director Nicholas Granby. Camera operator Neil Benny, production runner Philip Campbell, and co-writer Jeremy Burnham. One Frankenstein After Another, 125 years of cinema adaptations, illustrated audio essay by Gillian Wallace Horvat. The life and work of Mary Shelley, interview with Emma Liggins, co-director of the Manchester Center for Gothic Studies. The Unhallowed Arts, the creation of Myth of Mary Shelley, interview with Gothic scholar Dr. Colin Azariah Cribbs, vintage behind the scenes from Hammer Films, alternate TV opening credits, trailer, Scars of Dracula, that's Horror of Frankenstein double feature trailer, Scars of Dracula / the Horror of Frankenstein double feature TV spot. So you get a ton of features on this here. Now, taking a quick glance over, let's see, I think some things are different. Like, for example, the one of the audio commentaries you get on the Shout Factory release is different. You still get the one with the director and Marcus Hearn. I don't know. There's the Veronica Carlson interview. There's Frankenstein, Dracula, and Me, a conversation with Veronica Carlson. Oh, that's a different one. Okay. So I guess couple of different things on each release. It looks like it's one of the cases where the Severin has some that the Shout Factory doesn't, and vice versa. Yeah, because the audio commentary that's on here with Tim Lucas is not on the Shout Factory release, but then there's an audio commentary on the Shout Factory release, which is not on the Severin release for Horror of Frankenstein. So if you've got that original Blu-ray from Shout Factory, I would say hold on to it. If you are a completionist and you still want to get this box set as well, do that. But moving on to disc 3, which is Lust for a Vampire. That's the audio commentary with director Jimmy Sangster and actress Susanna Lee, moderated by Hammer historian Marcus Hearn. Audio commentary with David Flint, author of 10 Years of Horror, British horror films of the 1970s. Excuse me. Lust for a Vampire. The Blu-ray has those 2 audio commentaries, has an illustrated archival audio interview with actress Ute Stensgaard by Michael Augustine Reed with accompanying career-spanning still gallery. Live, Love, Lust interview with actress Judy Matheson. Gothic Girl interview with actress Kirsten Lindholm. Hammer Times interview with actor Christopher Nemi. A Bit of Fun interview with actress Erica Beale. Lust Me! Exclamation point interview with actress Mel Archer. No, Lust Mel, not Lust Me. That looked like an exclamation point. Running Blood interview with production runner Philip Campbell. Gates of Karnstein Castle archival interview with screenwriter Tudor Gates. The Invisible Prince, the life and legacy of J. Sheridan Le Fanu. Let's see. There's a lot going on here. Okay, Strange Love. That's Carmen Marie Machado, author of Queer Reflections of Horror, reframes the sapphic vampire. School of Heaving Bosom, Education, Eroticism, and the Lust for a Vampire. Video essay by Dr. Alexandra Heller Nicholas. Alternate version of the lesbian scene. Okay, so this is chock full of special features. So many features in here. Disc number 5 is Fear in the Night. That's the 4K UHD disc with an audio commentary with producer / co-writer / director Jimmy Sangster, moderated by Hammer historian Marcus Hearn. Another commentary with David Flint. Let's see, Peter Cushing discusses Hammer in an archival interview. And then disc 6 is the Blu-ray of Fear in the Night, which has those 3 special features plus the Gaslighters Playbook, Real and Imagined, Horrors in Fear in the Night, video essay by Alexandra Heller Nicholas. Fun in the Day, interview with camera operator Neil Binney and production runner Philip Campbell. So, disc 7. Oh, man. All right. Disc 7. There's a comment here, very interesting, by Adam Schofield. Says only 1.5 good films in the Sangster box set, but the extras are pretty great. Like Fear in the Night has a lot. Yeah, I'm just going through each disc, and each disc is pretty loaded. Well, each movie has 2 discs. The second discs are pretty loaded, and then the 7th disc, I'm looking at it right now. The 7th disc is loaded too with special features. There's a Hammer and Beyond, the Jimmy Sangster Legacy, which is a 2026 documentary by Hammer historian Marcus Hearn. The Man from Bristol, Ralph Bates Remembered, interviews with his actress and wife Virginia Wetherill and composer / son Will Bates. There's Joan Collins, Queen of the Horror Films, interviews with House of Psychotic Women author Kirla Janice and telefilm historian Amanda Reyes. Hammer in the USA, film historian C. Courtney Joyner on the studio's stateside distribution. Hammer Scribe archival interview with director Jimmy Sangster. Sapphic Bloodsuckers, a cinematic history of lesbian vampire trope with Annie Rose Malamet, film scholar and host of Girls Guts Giallo. I Coined the Karnstein Trilogy interview with David Peary, author of A Heritage of Horror. So this set is massive. I would say I haven't seen anything but the first movie. I didn't mention that. So I've seen Horror of Frankenstein. Because I wanted to see all of the Frankenstein Hammer horror films. I believe this was the last one I had to see. I think it may be the last one in the series as well. And these go back for a while. And these have been released by several companies. Like Shout Factory's put out some here. Curse of Frankenstein, which has been released by Warner Archive on 4K as well as Hammer on 4K. That's part of this loose series of Hammer Frankenstein movies. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard of the Hammer Dracula films that were starring Christopher Lee. Those have all gotten at least Blu-ray releases at this point. What is interesting is we haven't really seen 4Ks from those yet. It's interesting to me. If we're ever going to see 4Ks of those. I think Warner Brothers has most of those here. But let's see. Let's move on to the other box set that's in this release. Let's move on to the one of the name that I cannot pronounce. The Worlds of Lucille HADŽIHALILOVIĆ. That's how I'm going to roll with it. So let's see. This is a 4-disc collection with 4+ combined hours of special features and a 60-page companion book. So this is more of I guess you could say, a traditional Severin box set, as opposed to the other one, which is a much larger one. Like I said, the other one's got 7 discs. This one, I guess, is a more 4-disc set. The other one, like I said, is a 312-page book. This one's a 60-page book. A little bit different in size here, I'm assuming. So, The Worlds of Lucile HADŽIHALILOVIĆ presents a comprehensively immersive journey through the filmography of Lucile HADŽIHALILOVIĆ, and an an artist of radical gentleness whose films each resemble a delicately poisoned fairy tale. Originally known for her collaborations as editor and producer for longtime partner Gaspar Noé, writer-director HADŽIHALILOVIČ's own internationally acclaimed quartet of features craft poetically surreal tales where dreams and nightmares are layered in embraces of tenderness and terror. 2 of the 4 films in the collection are North American Blu-ray premieres and include over 4 combined hours of fascinating special features, plus a 60-page companion book featuring all new essays by Severin Maeve, Allison Taylor, and Stephen Thrower. Let's see. I've not seen any of these movies. I wanted to see them in between when this was announced and now, and I just didn't get a chance to. Let's see. The first film is called Innocence. It's beautiful and provocative, a mesmerizing work that is at once eerie and beautiful, a film that often seems like Picnic at Hanging Rock, as directed by David Lynch. See, when you start saying things like that, that really makes me want to watch this movie. But this is Lucile HADŽIHALILOVIČ's breakthrough debut, is a dreamlike descent into a secluded boarding school where nostalgia and dread intertwine for a surreal and unexpectedly euphoric examination of young sisterhood. César, BAFTA, and Academy Award winner Marion Cotillard stars in this haunting and hypnotic fairy tale that IndieWire hails as at once a feminist parable and bedtime story that unfolds like a crouching animal waiting to pounce. Innocence is accompanied by 2 of HADŽIHALILOVIČ's acclaimed shorts, De Natura and Nectar, both featuring personal introductions. Very interesting. There's a video essay by Alexander Helen-Nicholas and Q&A recorded at the IFC Center in 2025. Let's see. Special features: introduction by the director, short films with introduction by the directors, Innocence Explained by actress Zoe Auclair, video essay by Alexander Helen-Nicholas, and that Q&A from the IFC Center. The disc 2 has Evolution. It's the second feature in the minimalist body horror about a boy who uncovers a mysterious world of inhuman biology and haunting transformation. I don't need to read more than that. To be honest, you got me. I'm so intrigued because these are the types of movies that I like a lot. These ethereal, dreamlike movies, surreal art house, avant-garde films that feel like dreams within a dream within a dream. You had me at David Lynch. You really did. If you're comparing it to David Lynch's work, I am all for it. It sounds Adam Schofield says the Lucile H box sounds fascinating. It does. Like, I'm intrigued beyond intrigued right now. The special features for disc 2 is an introduction by the director, discussion between the cinematographer Manu Dacos and the director, interview with writer Alante Cavate. Yeah, this movie's 81 minutes. That's really short. Really short. The third movie is on disc 3 is Airwig. Let's see, the third feature and English language debut by the emergent champion of slow burn surrealist cinema. See, that's my stuff. Is a Kafkaesque fable of fatherhood, isolation, and teeth made of ice. Like, I don't need more than that. Like, I'm not reading more than that. You had me. You got me. you got me. It says Earwig is deconstructed through special features that include interviews with the director, co-writer. We'll get through this. Actually, let's talk about it right now. Intro by the director, interview with the director, interview with the co-writer Jeff Cox, interview with cinematographer Jonathan Rickborg. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all in. The Ice Tower. Now that's such a cool name for a movie. Is that not a cool name for a movie? 2 decades after the stunning breakthrough of Innocence, Marion Cotillard reunites with the director for her award-winning 4th feature, a meta-fantasy freely inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen. Gaspar Noé co-stars in the movie. It says, mesmerizing and unnerving masterpiece in which reality, cinema, and fantasy become one of a kind. Yeah, these are all like kind of snippets from like different publications here, but I'm all in. I'm all in. So, introduction by the director, interview with the cinematographer Jonathan Rickborg, interview with Lucille. Like I said, the director. I'm butchering that last name. Uh, by Beatrice Loaza, 2 Q&As at the IFC Center, and then a video essay by Alexandra Heller Nicholas. So this set here has me all intrigued. This is definitely something that I will look into buying in the future. I know that sounds kind of ambiguous, but yeah, it's something that I want to get, but yet again, it would be a bit of a blind buy. So I would say maybe at a future Severin sale or something like that. If this is on sale, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this set. Let me get it. In typical Severin style, there are some bundles here. There's the Sangster / Wicker bundle, where you can get the Sangster Directs Horror box set, as well as Children of the Wicker Man documentary, plus extra goodies in there. You can get the Sangster and HADŽIHALILOVIĆ bundle, which is just those 2 box sets together, and then you can get the Sangster Celebration bundle, which is the box set plus some extra goodies. And then there's the Wicker basket when you get the Children of the Wicker Man documentary, as well as the book, which I mentioned before. Yeah, no Lucille HADŽIHALILOVIĆ bundle by itself. Interesting. Anywho, those are the 3 releases by Severin, and I didn't even check to see when these were coming out. Let's see. They're available to pre-order. It says, June. I believe these are all June releases. Yeah, that says June 30th. Let's see when the Wicker Man, or the Children of the Wicker Man, is supposed to come out. June 30th, and then just because we did the other 2, let's do this one. It looks like June 30th as well. Yep. Okay. All available to pre-order directly from severinfilms.com. Now, let me take a look over at my notes to see where we want to go now. I do have, we talked about Imprint, so I can get rid of that tab. We've talked about Severin and get rid of that tab. I have this tab up here, which I guess we'll go over to Treasured Films, because they're putting out a release of this movie called The Trollenberg Terror. Now, this is like an atomic age sci-fi horror film, and I always liked atomic age sci-fi horror. That's something that's a guilty pleasure of mine, I guess you could say. Let's see. Yeah, because then after this, we will go to Kino, and then we will dive into the Vinegar Syndrome release. I'm just looking over at my notes real quickly to make sure I don't miss anything. Imprint we did. Severin we've done. There's one by Studio Canal. There's a big one by Studio Canal. I got to go look for that. Studio Canal is re-releasing Highlander again. As someone who loves the movie Highlander, I have to talk about it. I got to talk about it. So, anywho, we're over at Treasured Films. The Trollenberg Terror, or The Crawling Eye, is the alternative title to it. I don't know which one sounds cooler, The Trollenberg Terror or The Crawling Eye. As you can see here, you're dealing with some type of monster. This movie is actually an inspiration for John Carpenter's The Fog. And if you've watched this movie, you can definitely understand why. So the premise is thus. There is this this fog, if you will, that has mysteriously shown up in the mountains, and something is happening. People are getting killed. Not only are they getting killed, they are getting decapitated. Bodies are being found with their heads removed, and people are wondering, "Hey, what the heck is going on?" Which is an apropos reaction. So let me read some of this. Scientific investigator Alan Brooks, portrayed by Forrest Tucker, who is in the Abominable Snowman, is summoned to the remote alpine village of Trollenberg, following the recent gruesome decapitations of a mountain climber. En route, he encounters mind-reading sisters Anne and Sarah Pilgrim, who follow him to the village. So what happens is these mind-reading sisters are they're kind of like traveling, carnival show type of situation. They pretend to read people's minds. Everybody pays them money. They freak people out, all kind of stuff. But what ends up happening is when they come through this to this Trollenberg town, is the younger sister starts seeing actual visions. She starts seeing actual visions of people being attacked by some things coming out of this fog. And she's trying to warn people, being like, hey, don't go there, don't do this, don't do that. Bad things are going to happen. She's getting like futuristic visions. And lo and behold, they keep coming true. Also known as The Crawling Eye and written by legendary Jimmy Sangster, this film was influential on the likes of future masters of horror John Carpenter and Stephen King. Treasured Films is proud to announce the debut UK Blu-ray of The Trollenberg Terror, stacked with brand new and archive extra features in this much treasured special edition. Stephen King, of course, had his book The Mist, which has been turned into the movie with Tom Jane, which people really, really like. I really like it as well. There was a TV series a few years ago that it got turned into. People really didn't like that. Not to spoil things for people, the book ending and the movie ending are different. If you've seen the movie version, like I said, with Tom Jane plus a bunch of other people, directed by Frank Darabont, the book ending is much different. It's also, the book is very short. It's one of his like novellas. It's very short. So also, let's see. Let's get to the special features. So double-walled slipcase with artwork by Rick Melton, illustrated collector's booklet featuring writing by Clive Dawson, web store exclusive crawling eye magnet. That's kind of cool. Web store exclusive A3 poster, reversible fold-out poster. Special features, you get the movie in high definition, of course. Uncompressed English DTS HD Master Audio 2.0. Audio commentary with director John Carpenter. That's awesome. You get a new special feature. Original Sangster film historian and author Jonathan Rigby discusses screenwriter Jimmy Sangster. Musical Black Magic writer and author David Huckvale on composer Stanley Black. Alan Bryce talks Trollenberg Terror. Dark Side Magazine Alan Bryce revisits the film. Special Effects of Terror interview with special effects artist Brian Johnson. So, in typical, in treasured film style, I believe this is a Region B locked release. So you would have to have a region free player in order to play it because it's only a Blu-ray. But other than that, if you like I said, atomic age sci-fi horror stuff, check out the Trollenberg Terror or the Crawling Eye. It's obviously it's of its time. When did the movie come out? Let me see. I think 19. Let me look. Where can I go to look for this? Let me go to IMDb. Let me bring up IMDb really quickly, as you guys can see here. Let's see. I wonder if it's the Crawling Eye. Yep, the Crawling Eye. You never know what it's going to turn up as. It says original title, The Trollenberg Terrors. This came out in 1958, so it would have been around the same time as like The Day the Earth Stood Still and Forbidden Planet and other movies like that. It's nowhere near as good as any of those movies, I can tell you that. Or nowhere near as good as a couple of other movies of that time, of the atomic age sci-fi time. But you could watch it with some of them and maybe a nice double feature. So now I do want to go to Highlander. So you guys may be wondering, hey, didn't Highlander just get a 4K release a couple of years ago from Studio Canal? Yes, you did. Yes, you are correct. But it's getting a new 40th anniversary edition 4K UHD release from Studio Canal coming out June 29th, 2026. Now, let me see if Blu-ray.com has the deets on it. Yes, it does. All right. So let's read a little bit of this here. Not too much because we don't need all the bells and whistles here. So Studio Canal will celebrate the 40th anniversary of Russell Mulcahy's Highlander from 1986 with a brand new limited edition 4K/Blu-ray combo pack release, which is scheduled to arrive on the market on June 29th. Let's see. They're delighted to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Highlander, bringing the iconic cult classic to the big screen with a release in cinemas from May 4th and on May 4th, including a special Q&A with Q&A screenings and a new collector's edition 4K Blu-ray and Blu-ray box set. The 2-disc collector's edition will include brand new artwork by Sophie Bland with removable O-ring on, so the clean artwork can be displayed. 2 posters, 3 exclusive booklets, a 100-page collector's booklet, an 84-page booklet including lost scenes and excerpts from the script were never filmed with new analysis from Highlander expert Jonathan Melville, a 32-page collection Titan Comics mini book, and a wealth of extras including interviews and commentaries with the director and cast. So, you're probably wondering, like I just mentioned, you're probably wondering, if I bought the 4K Blu-ray box set from Studio Canal a couple of years ago, it did come out in 2022, not that long ago, what is the difference between that release and this release? It's kind of everything I just mentioned. You get like extra goodies. If there's new cover art, there's new posters, there's new booklet and reading material with extra stuff that I don't believe was in that original release. What I think remains the same is the on-disc special features. I think those remain the same. So if you have that release already from 2022 from Studio Canal themselves, you may not need this release if you don't care about any of those extra goodies, if you will. So yeah, I feel you, but still interested in these films. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing that's interesting to me is that I kind of understand why they're doing it, capitalizing on the 40th anniversary of the release of the movie. It's gonna get screened in theaters. It's going to have Q&As. It's gonna be a thing, right? But I'm like, you just came out with a release 4 years ago. That's a 4K. It's not like it's a new restoration or a new 4K scan. You know what I mean? So it's a little cash grabby, So as you can see here, all of the details are listed. Disc 1's got previously restored in 4K by Studio Canal. Like I said, same restoration. Dolby Vision HDR presentation of the film. Now, I do want to go back and look to see if the previous release had Dolby Vision and HDR. That's kind of the only thing that would be maybe different. But you get all the special features. You get the immortal attraction of Highlander, looking back at the 4 decades of the movie. A kind of magic. Actually, let me bring up. I like to do this from time to time. You guys don't get to see this. I will go and have two different panels up of movies so that I can compare the 2 different editions, and you guys get to watch me misspell Highlander. So let me see. So what is interesting is actually let me specifically look at the 4K release. So here's the digipack. This is the one from 4 years ago, and this has HDR Dolby Vision. This has HDR10. This is now out of print. This has been long out of print. You could still find it. You'd have to pay through the nose for it, but you could still get it. I just want to scroll down to the special features. Yeah, you got the immortal attraction of the Highlander, kind of magic music of the immortals, capturing immortality. There can only be one. There can only be one. You got the 3 audio commentaries. 1, 2, 3 audio commentaries. It's the same on disc content. There's no difference here. There's the 2nd disc Blu-ray, where you've got the audio commentary. There's an audio commentary, interview with Mulcahy, interview with Christopher Lambert. The making of Highlander, I think, is on there as well. Making of Highlander in 4 parts. and let's see, deleted scenes, archival interview with Christopher Lambert. So you get all of the extra stuff. Now, what you do, like I said, what you don't get is probably this additional content that was on that first release. You don't get that, and then if you don't get this set, you don't get that extra goodies too. So they just threw in like extra stuff, like like the new artwork, the 2 posters, the 100-page collector's booklet, the 84-page collector's booklet, 32-page collector's booklet. Which I'm curious. Let's see. Yeah, the 64-page booklet was in the first release, and the prequel comic Way of the Sword. Let me see if that's on. I don't know if that's on this release, but either way, like I said, it's a bit of a cash grab. It's a bit of a cash grab. They are. Adam Schofield says maybe they're releasing in conjunction. They are. They're doing it the time up with the release, which is, to be honest, I wish more studios would do this for other movies, but not after they've already released like a pretty definitive edition. You know what I mean? Like I'm curious why they don't do that with a lot of other movies. When they're having either sequels or anniversaries, and I'm like, it's a golden marketing opportunity. They go hand in hand. But there is. Oh, you were saying. Oh, you mentioned this. Okay. So Adam Schofield mentioned, isn't there a new Highlander film coming out soon? There is. It's the one starring. Let me go over back to IMDb. It's the one starring Henry Cavill, which they've already had like a teaser trailer for. Now, when's that coming out? Yeah, there it is. Let's see, do they have a release date for this? Let me scroll down to where the release date is for IMDb. I don't know if there's a release date for it. No, I'm scrolling down. I'm past the release dates. Yeah, they don't have a release date here on IMDb unless I missed it. But yeah, you're right, Adam Schofield. They are coming out with a new one soon. Yeah, that's interesting. Anywho, let's move on from Highlander. Let's go back. Actually, I think let me check my notes really, really quickly. And let's see, we talked about Severin, we have to go to Kino. Okay. So let me go to, I don't know where the heck I'm going. See, let me go to Kino's Facebook. Kino Lorber Studio Classics, and then we will go over to Vinegar Syndrome. So, Kino has a couple of releases I want to talk about. There's the Harry and the Hendersons release. Oh yeah, they're releasing Orgasmo, which is the movie with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. That's getting a 4K release. But I want to scroll down to a couple of movies I want to talk about. Oh yeah, The Maverick Queen, which I didn't get to talk about last week. So this is the movie. This is a Western starring Barbara Stanwyck. It's kind of a B Western put out by Republic Pictures back in 1959, actually. I thought it was a little earlier than that, actually. But anywho, this stars Barbara Stanwyck, and she is she's getting. Let's see. Let me look up the premise to this because I completely forgot what it was. Where do I want to go? Let me go back. Let me go over to. Let me go to Letterboxd. Everybody gets to follow me on Letterboxd if you haven't already. You can see all the stuff that I've been watching lately. So let's see. Oh, there's the Maverick Queen. Maverick Queen. It's like I said, it's a 3 out of 5 type of movie. It's not great. So, Barbara Stanwyck plays Kip Banyan, A Virginia-born beauty and product of post-Civil War chaos, has settled in Wyoming and prospered, acquiring a fortune and a hotel which, like the owner, like it says, like the owner bears the name of the Maverick Queen, a title picked up by Kit in her earlier days in Wyoming when she took every unbranded steer and put her own brand on it. Love and trouble enter her life in the person of a Pinkerton detective posing as Jeff Younger, nephew of the infamous Younger brothers. He is dedicated to catching Butch Cassidy and the members of the Wild Bunch. So, this movie involves um, a, a guy who is posing as Jeff Younger, the nephew of the outlaws, to he's a Pinkerton detective, and he is going undercover to infiltrate these outlaws so that he can basically arrest or get Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and the other Wild Bunch members and all that kind of stuff. But he ends up doing it by ingratiating himself, romancing Kit Banyan, or the Maverick Queen, portrayed by Barbara Stanwyck. They have this romance back and forth going on, and she is involved with them through their business dealings, them robbing places and all those kind of stuff, right? So she's involved with their criminality. Meanwhile, she is getting involved with uh, this um this undercover Pinkerton detective, and a lot of things going on in this movie. There's a lot happening in it. It's okay. It's fine. Barbara Stanwyck is great in it. She's the highlight of this movie. She's kind of the reason to watch this movie. Everything else is kind of okay. But I would like to recommend another one starring Barbara Stanwyck called 40 Guns. That's got a Criterion release. Now, that's a good movie. That movie is really good. I think that's a Sam Fuller film. That movie is really, really good. And that's a Western with Barbara Stanwyck, who's playing like this badass woman and stuff like that. That's really great. The Maverick Queen is all right. Let's go back over to their Facebook page, and let's go to Pirates of Penzance. So I've heard of this movie, never seen it. It stars Kevin Kline, Angela Lansbury, Linda Ronstadt. Let's see, shot by the same person who did Jesus Christ Superstar and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Directed by Wilfred Leach, who did The Wedding Party. Now, let me go and get the synopsis of that. Like I said, I didn't get to see it, so it's in my watch list somewhere. Let me go check my watch list. Pirates of Penzance. Where are you? There you are. So, Pirates of Penzance is, as a young child, Frederick has been apprenticed to a pirate by mistake when he should have been apprenticed to a pilot. Now, having reached his 21st year, Frederick's indentures are at last over, and he happily leaves the service of the pirates. When Frederick meets the beautiful Mabel, one of the many daughters or wards in chancery of Major General Stanley, they fall in love and decide to marry. However, complications arise when the pirates decide to marry the rest of the Major General's daughters themselves, and Frederick's birthday turns out to be not all it seems. So, that's Pirates of Penzance. Like I said, I've never seen it. I've heard about it. As you can see here, Kino has kind of just announced that it's coming soon on 4K, brand new HDR DV master from a 4K scan of a 35mm original camera negative. Nothing in the way of special features or street date or anything like that. So we shall wait and see. Gene Gabin and Inspector Maigret, that they've been releasing these movies like individually, is getting a whole collection now. So if you've been buying those individually, I guess you kind of should have waited. Unearthly Stranger. Now, this is a movie from 1963. Let's see, a cleverly conceived, eerily atmospheric sci-fi chiller. Unearthly Stranger stars John Neville, who is in The Adventures of Barry Munchausen, as a scientist engaged in an experimental project like no other. TP-91 is a secret and highly complex formula which will enable man to project himself through time and space. But when Dr. Monroe succeeds in solving the first part of it, he is found dead before he can pass on the invaluable result. His successor, quickly senses that both he and his new wife are now in grave danger. This original, intelligent, and compelling thriller was directed by John Krish, and featured Philip Stone, Patrick Newell, and Gene Marsh in wonderful supporting roles. Now, for special features, we have two audio commentaries, one by film historian Gary Gerani, and the other by entertainment journalists, authors Brian Reisman and Max Every. Okay, a couple of other ones here. Till We Meet Again, starring Ray Milland and Barbara Britton. I like Ray Milland, so that's why I think I had this on the notes there. Brand new. It's a coming out on Blu-ray, brand new 4K restoration by Universal Pictures and the Film Foundation. Ray Milland, Barbara Britton, Walter Slezak, Vladimir Sokolov. Let's see. Directed by Frank Borzage. That's a big name. So I've been watching a lot of Frank Borzage's work over the last few years. He directed Seventh Heaven, A Farewell to Arms, Desire, Moonrise. A couple of Frank Borzage films are in the Criterion Collection as well. He's a director to look out for. Not that he's been around he was around for decades. I'm just saying, if you come across a Frank Borzage work, check it out. It's worth watching. It's worth watching. Like I said, Orgasmo is getting a 4K release. That's the Trey Parker and Matt. Trey Parker directed that. That movie is a heck of a lot of fun. And then you've got more information about Harry and the Hendersons. I don't know why we feel like we've done this already. This is all the details that I've talked about this already. Anywho, that's all the details about Harry and the Hendersons, coming out May 26th. Nice 2-disc 4K edition that I will probably be buying at some point. If I bought, let's see if I have it here. Oh, I showed it off last week, Beethoven. So, this edition of Beethoven was supposed to come with a brand new HD master from a 2K scan of a 35mm interpositive. Apparently, the version they put on here was the old Blu-ray, the one that came out like in 2016. So I don't know if they're going to reissue like a replacement disc for this or not, but this is the wrong transfer on here. I learned that I learned that actually from my friend Scott Saslow, who I just did an interview with, and he pointed out that the Blu-ray.com review pointed that out, and that it is the same. That they use the same old master that was on the 2016 release for this release, as opposed to the brand new HD master that they were that's supposed to be on here. So I don't know what the heck is going to happen with that. That's a little bit disappointing. Also, I don't know how you don't catch those things in quality control, because these things go through rounds and rounds and rounds of quality control. I don't know how you don't notice these things. But anywho, I just thought I would point that out for those of you who were looking to pick this up, maybe at a Kino sale, or maybe just because you love the movie, it's part of your childhood like myself. This has the wrong transfer on it. So I thought I would mention that. Move all that back. But let's see, what else do we have here? I think that's about it. That's it from Kino. So now we can go over to the grand finale. We can go over to Vinegar Syndrome, unless there was something I missed. I don't think there was. Nope. We're going over to Vinegar Syndrome. Here we are. So we have some Vinegar Syndrome proper titles. We have some partner label titles. Let's get into all of this, shall we? So, yeah, Adam Schofield says, who doesn't love Ray Milland? I do. Unearthly, Adam Schofield says, Unearthly Stranger is a Brit sci-fi kitchen sink drama. Very good. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I talked about it before, because I think it's been announced that this was coming before. Now we just finally reached the last rung of Kino's release cycle, where they announce something, hey, it's coming soon, and then like months or a year later they say, oh yeah, it's coming on this date, and here are all the details, and then they'll say something again like, oh, it's coming out on this day again, and I'm like, you said this already. But that's just what Kino does. But task at hand. We've got the Vinegar Syndrome titles. They're like I said, we'll go over the. I didn't get to see all of these because they dropped on Wednesday the 1st. It's now Monday the 6th. So I had Wednesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 5 days to watch as many of these as I could. I got through more of the partner labels than I thought, but there were still some I really wanted to watch. I didn't get to them. So we'll go over some of the things that I did get to watch, and I did so I can talk about them, and then maybe mention a couple of the other ones that looked intriguing to me. So first up here is we've got Mutant being put out in 4K by Vinegar Syndrome. We've got two versions, not two versions. We got a 4K release of Escape from Death, and then we've got Escape from Death getting another 4K release. It's the same release, just different alternate slipcover art. That's it. Alternate slipcover art. Then we've got a 4K release of Faces of Death. That's getting a VSA release from their VSA line, their Vinegar Syndrome archive line. And then from Cinematograph, we're getting Lieberstraum. Lieberstraum is a Mike Figgis film. Mike Figgis directed the movie Leaving Las Vegas, the Nicolas Cage and Elizabeth Shue film. That's the movie that Nicolas Cage has won an Oscar for. Now, that movie, Leaving Las Vegas, has a 4K release from Shout Factory. There's also a Blu-ray release from years ago, which I have in my collection, but that's something I really want to upgrade. But anywho, that's just me talking out loud. And from Vinegar Syndrome Labs, we've got what's that? Ténèbres Françaises. And then we've got Eurocrime Rarities Volume 1. Now, I watched Mutant. I watched Faces of Death. And I watched Lieberstraum. And I didn't get to watch any of the other ones here. Yeah, I was gonna say they interest me too. Adam Schofield says Ténèbres Françaises and Eurocrime Rarities interest me a lot. Yeah, those are fascinating to me. I'll say this: Liebstrom is good, but it's an interesting, like, laid back type of film. Like I said, I think you have to be a fan of Mike Figgis to kind of really get it. Mutant, which we'll talk about right now, is a lot of fun. Mutant is a lot of fun. It stars. Actually, let me just read it here instead of me riffing. Let's see. After getting into a scuffle, finding themselves stranded in a remote southern town, brothers Mike and Josh discover that they're in the midst of a much deeper problem. That night, Mike is attacked by someone or something, and the following morning, everything about the sleepy town seems to have changed as many of the locals appear sick and begin exhibiting increasingly unhinged and violent behavior. With the help of some equally concerned townsfolk, the brothers soon discover that the forces beyond their control are slowly transforming the citizens into a horrifying form of the living dead. A late state drive-in chiller which harkens back to the nuclear horror sci-fi favorites of decades past, with an environmentally conscious update. Stuntman turned director John Bud Cardos. Let's see. Cardos' Mutant stars character actor legend Wings Hauser, Bo Hopkins, Lee Montgomery, and more. Produced by Notorious Film Ventures International, who I guess produced Grizzly, Beyond the Door, and Great White, and offering plenty of monstrous makeup, special effects, and ludicrous twists. Vinegar Syndrome finally brings this 1980s cult favorite to 4K UHD, featuring an exclusive new restoration of the 35mm original camera negative, along with a plentiful assortment of new and archival extras. So yeah, this movie feels like Night of the Creeps. It feels like Return of the Living Dead. It feels like Dawn of the Dead. It feels like Day of the Dead. It's in that type of vein. It's it's nowhere near as good as those movies. It's nowhere near as good as those movies. It's kind of like a B movie version of those movies, like a lower grade version of those movies. Still a lot of fun though. Wings Hauser is good in the movie. And yeah, it's basically these two brothers get stranded in this small town where weird stuff starts happening. Basically, the people in this town are being turned into these zombie vampiric like creatures, and due to like chemical waste, and then like they've got to survive, or the Wingshauser has to survive. That's the movie. It's very simple premise. Like I said, it's been utilized before, but in better regards, but still lots of fun. Still lots of fun. 2-disc set, 4K UHD, and a Blu-ray. Let's see, the 4K is presented in Dolby Vision, newly scanned and restored in 4K from its 35mm original camera negative. Archival commentary track with the director, John Bud Cardos, producer Ego Cantor, and actor Lee Montgomery. New commentary track with film historians Howard S. Berger and Steve Mitchell. A real country boy, an interview with Callie Lillyhauser, widow of Wingshauser. Wingshauser just passed away. Oh, okay, within the last couple of years. I remember seeing him going to so many different like conventions and stuff, and people posting pictures and getting his autograph, all kinds of stuff like that. Um, let's see. Mutant Report writer Anthony Everett reflects on his father's coverage of Mutant. Archival interview with actor Bo Hopkins. Archival interview with Lee Montgomery, the actor. Trailer, reversible sleeve artwork. And that is it. So that's the movie Mutant from 1984. It's getting a 4K release. Now, like I said, I didn't get to see Escape from Death, but I did get to see Faces of Death. Now, this is apparently a notorious movie that's been banned in a lot of places. I'm assuming this is part of the video nasties, like it has to be. So this movie is not really a movie. It is and it isn't. It is because, it's something that, shot on film, and this, you know what I mean? You can watch it. So I guess it is a movie in quotes, but there's no plot to it. There's no real narrative to it. It's just a series of different scenes dealing with death, and like viciously dealing with death. Like you get scenes of like autopsies, you get scenes of like corpses piled up, you get scenes of like body parts, you get scenes of like animal deaths, which are really disturbing. This movie's really disturbing, really uncomfortable. Like I can understand its controversy around it. It's not a movie for everyone. Like even like maybe even hardcore horror fans will not dig this movie. Yeah, when it came out in Japan, let's see. Adam Schofield says, um, Faces of Death, when it came out in Japan, knocked E.T. off the top box office spot. That is fascinating. That's fascinating. Because the movie, like, I bet you to market this movie was so easy. Like, hey, come and see the movie that nobody wants you to watch, or come and see the movie that you can never forget. Like, it's that level of like it almost feels like a snuff film at times. And I understand that it's not that, but it feels like that. Like I felt like I was Nicolas Cage in the movie 8mm watching these horrific underground movies. Like it makes you feel that uncomfortable. Um like I said, it's anthological, so there's no plot to it whatsoever. It's kind of like those movies like ABCs of Death, where you get all these short films that have to do with like the letters of the alphabet, stuff like that, to give it a more modern comparison. But this movie is, like I said, very uncomfortable at times. And there's this like almost like educational narration that goes through it, of somebody just talking about like the animal kingdom, and like death is prevalent in the animal kingdom, survival of the fittest, and it's like trying to be like this educational video, and I'm like, this is horrific. This is horrific. No interest in this. I would say, I've seen it. What Adam Schofield says, not seen in 40 years, no interest in revisiting. I'm with you. I saw it once this past week. I don't need to own this because I'm never gonna watch it again, and I don't need to see it again at all. Like I saw it once just so I could talk about it here. But yep, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, Adam Schofield points this out. It's nearly all fake, but some authentic footage. That's the thing. It's shot to make it look real, a little too close to reality. Um, yeah, it's uncomfortable, especially like I'm very sensitive to animal cruelty. Um, and so this movie has that in it, and it's really disturbing. Really, really disturbing. Definitely give people all the warnings in the world when it comes to this. But I guess I don't have to like read this little blurb here because you kind of get, if you know this movie, you know it. I am shocked that it's getting a 4K release. Like I don't need to see this movie in 4K. Like I got it. I got it. Let's see, directed by Conan LeCellar. It says starring Michael Carr. Maybe that's the guy who does the narration. But 2-disc set, 4K Blu-ray, 4K presented in Dolby Vision. Man, there are movies that can't even get Blu-ray releases out there. Yet, let alone this movie getting a 4K release. Newly scanned and restored in 4K from its 35mm and 16mm original camera negative. Commentary with director Conan LeCellar. Moderated by Michael Felsher. Buried footage, newly discovered, never before seen outtakes. Jeez. Choice cuts, an archival featurette with editor Glenn Turner. The Death Makers, an archival featurette with effects creators Alan Apone and Douglas White. They did a heck of a job. Jeez. Many Faces of Death scholars and genre experts examine the controversial origins and lasting cultural impact of Faces of Death. 40-page perfect bound book with essays by Sam Deegan, David Caracas, and Stephen Thrower. Isolated musical track. Archival outtakes. Gee, they have outtakes? More outtakes? And then there's a trailer and reversible sleeve. So that is the, I'm assuming, controversial, banned in some parts movie, Faces of Death. From, when did this come out? I guess this came out in 1979 was its original release. But if what Adam Schofield said that it came out it was put out years later in some other countries, that's fascinating to me. But that is Faces of Death. Now let's go over to Lieberstraum. So hold on, I gotta scroll back up. Lieberstraum is the Cinématographe release. Cinématographe is the sub-label that's been putting out some really nice releases. I have a few in my collection. I'm looking over at my shelf. I have some of their early ones. I've got to get some more. But I wait till they go on sale. You got to be a conscientious collector. You can't, like, I've seen people online recently, this is me going off a little bit, where people are spending way too much money on things that they should not be spending lots of money on in the movie buying world. Like, there's very rare reasons why you should be spending a lot of money on in-print stuff. If things are out of print, that's a different story. You know what I mean? If something is out of print, those prices are more, they're more exceptions to the rules. But stuff that's in print, like stuff that is still in circulation, like Criterion editions, for example, there's no reason why you should be spending more than in the $20 to $30 range for a brand new Criterion Blu-ray. You should be spending no more than that. Like, that's the price range, in my opinion, that you typically see for those. For anybody spending more than that, you're spending too much. Now, for 4Ks, that's when the $30 to $40 range for Criterion 4Ks, like single movie editions, that's that range. If you're spending more than that for those, you got to look around a little bit more. I just want to make sure people are aware of that, because there are a lot of young collectors and a lot of new to collecting things that they don't understand, the difference in pricing and price ranges when it comes to a lot of these more boutique and niche editions. They just think like, oh, that's the price. And I'm like, no, not really. For example, during the Criterion sale, every time I have to explain to like my family members that, yeah, these movies are not, these movies aren't $50. These are 50% off. You know what I mean? Like, you don't spend $50 on a Criterion edition, 4K. You know what I mean? You don't spend $40 on a Criterion Blu-ray. You look for them when they're marked down. That's how you buy them. I don't know. I just have to remind people of that. But let's talk about Lieberstraum, the Mike Figgis movie. Let's see. So taking its name from the Lumia brother. No, that's how Cinématographe got its name. Let's see. Nick Kaminsky, the actor Kevin Anderson, is a young architecture professor leaves his current home in upstate New York to visit his terminally ill biological mother, Lillian, who's portrayed by Kim Novak. And this is actually Kim Novak's, I think, last movie she was in. I just thought that's interesting. In small town Illinois, Nick's college friend Paul, portrayed by Bill Pullman, a young Bill Pullman, is in the process of preparing to demolish an aging department store building in town that was the site of a violent crime years prior, which Nick intends to study the architecture before he leaves town. After meeting Paul's wife Jane, Pamela Gidley, who he is immediately attracted to, Nick starts to unravel dark secrets about his past and his family. A labyrinthine, erotically charged neo-noir from Academy Award-nominated writer and director Mike Figgis, who did, like I said, Leaving Las Vegas, a couple other films as well, but Leaving Las Vegas is his probably claim to fame. Lieberstraum is a long-overlooked entry in American crime cinema of the 1990s, featuring stunning cinematography from Ron Ruiz Anchia, a tension-building score from Figgis himself, and bold production design from frequent Figgis collaborator Waldemar Kalinowski. Cinematograph is proud to present Mike Figgis' early 90s psychological thriller in its uncensored director's cut in a new 2K restoration from its original negatives for its world Blu-ray debut. That's a lot. That's a lot to say there. So there is a theatrical cut and there is a director's cut. I think the difference between the two is like one scene. That's the difference. So not earth-shattering here, but there is a difference. Let's see. It's just a Blu-ray release. New audio commentary with writer, director, composer Mike Figgis, moderated by Cinematograph's Justin La Liberty. New audio commentary with film noir historians Elaine Silver and Christopher Coppola. Passion Project, a new interview with Mike Figgis. I'll be the judge of that. A new interview with editor Martin Hunter. Every Frame is a Picture, a new video interview with production designer Waldemar Kalinowski. Lieberstraum, Memories of the Past, a new video essay by film historian Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. Deleted scenes, original theatrical trailer. There's essays in there as well. Now, I'm going to be adding this to a Cinematograph releases that I've been wanting to get. So I want to get. Oh, let me just look at Cinematograph right now. There's a couple of Cinematograph releases I still want to get. That's not where I want to go. Let's see. Sublabels. Yeah. Look at all those sublabels. So let's see. Boxcar Bertha, the Martin Scorsese film. I still need to get. At Close Range is really good. That's a movie I need to get as well. Where's some? All right, here it is. A New Leaf. A New Leaf I still need to get. That is the Elaine May film. So if you're looking to get Cinematograph releases, I would, like I said, wait till they're on sale. And a couple of them to get would be A New Leaf, the Elaine May film. At Close Range is really good. Boxcar Bertha, if you're a Scorsese completist and fanatic like myself, you got to get it. You've got to get it. The Gambler is a great movie. The Gambler's really good with James Caan. If you like movies where people are addicted to gambling, there it is, and can't dig themselves out of a hole, Married to the Mob is great as well. That's a really good movie. I have that already in a Fun City Editions release. So I don't need to jump out and get that anytime soon. But Lieberstraum, this is the 1990, I think this movie came out? 1991. It's really good. It is dark, neo-noir, surreal. It's also kind of nihilistic, kind of cold. It's an interesting movie, just tonally interesting. There is some eroticism in there, but it feels like it's played underneath the surface almost entirely. I really like the movie a lot. I like Mike Figgis as a director. I've mentioned this many times. I've read Mike Figgis's book called Digital Filmmaking. It's now obviously it's long outdated because I think it came out 20 years ago, and digital filmmaking is vastly different now than it was 20 years ago. But Mike Figgis also does documentaries, especially specifically recently. He did the behind the scenes documentary on Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. And I really want to see that documentary because that movie, if you've seen Megalopolis, you you're like, how was this movie made? And it turns out very tumultuously, very tumultuously. Um, um, it is, yeah. So let me go back to, um, yeah. Now we'll move on to the partner labels. Let's move on to the partner labels. So, let's see what we've got here. I'm going to list them all off, and then we'll probably work our way back up and get into all of these movies. Now, to me, this is the best part of Vinegar Syndrome is their partner labels, because these are some like hidden gems of movies. You don't like in movies you've never heard of before, or sometimes you have heard of them and you've been wondering, hey, is that movie ever going to get a physical media release? Ever going to get a Blu-ray release? And lo and behold, this small boutique label out of nowhere will put it out. So let's see. Film Movement is putting out the movie Animale. Dark Star is putting out a double feature of Beware the Boogeyman and Revenge of the Boogeyman. Magnolia Pictures is putting out Boarding Gate. Now, this is important. This is an Olivier Assayas film. Olivier Assayas, who did the movie The Clouds of Sils Maria and Personal Shopper, those two movies, the same director of this movie called Boarding Gate. Let's see. Umbrella Entertainment is putting out Crosstalk. That's a re-release of a movie they already released in Australia. 1-2 Special is putting out Dracula. Kim Stim is putting out Faust. IFC Films is putting out Holler. Art Label is putting out Holy Trinity. Bleeding Skull is putting out House of Dreams. IFC Films is putting out I Sell the Devil. Connie or Connie, never really know how to pronounce that, is putting out The Illegal Immigrant. Really good movie. Factory 25 is putting out Micro Budget. The Catalog is putting out Motel Drive. Film Movement putting out Paying for It. I really like this movie a lot. I'll talk about it, but that may be my favorite of the ones that I watched. ETR Media is putting out Sabu. This is a documentary about the wrestler Sabu. Let's see. Saturn's Core is putting out Savage Vows. Memory is putting out Serious People. Dark Sky is putting out She Loved Blossoms More. I really wanted to see that movie. I didn't get a chance to. ETR Media is putting out Slopes Game Room, Arcade Classics, The Complete History, Volume 1. This is a collection of videos based on, obviously, arcade games. Several Futures, Small, Slow, but Steady. Another really good film. Really good film. Shudder is putting out a 4K of The Spine of the Night. That's an animated film. And then Canadian International Pictures, our buddies over at Canadian International Pictures, are putting out a Blu-ray of the documentary Star Wars Kid, The Rise of the Digital Shadows. And that's probably where I'm going to start. This movie is, like I said, this is a documentary. For those of you who are old enough, like myself, and have been around for the days of pre-internet, during the internet, and current internet, you know of the rise of going viral in the 2000s. There were many videos that popped up on the internet that started the trend of going viral. So for those of you who are younger that are listening or watching, the concept of going viral on the internet wasn't a thing until the 2000s, for the most part. And one of the earliest videos, circa 2003, was this video that's 2 minutes long called Star Wars Kid, where it was this young Canadian kid who had this stick, this I don't know if it was like a curtain rod or something like that, and he was basically doing all of these moves, whatever. And what happens is somebody took that, re-edited it, and added like Star Wars effects to it, like lightsaber effects to it, and it became a viral sensation. And it became like it was referenced and parodied on like nighttime talk shows, in television series like Arrested Development parodied it, Family Guy, American Dad, South Park referenced it and parodied it as well. And it became, like I said, it became a massive sensation, and you can still watch it to this day. But what this documentary, what we didn't know, and what this documentary shows, is the negative effects that going viral had on this young person who was in this video. This young man who was in this video, known as the Star Wars kid, is what's his name? His name is Ghislaine Raza, and I think he was from uh, Toronto, Quebec, around that area of French Canada. And this video that many of us have seen probably many times or whatever was actually posted without his knowledge, without his consent. And it was actually part of like a school project that he was helping somebody with. I think somebody was making a video for a school project and he was just doing something and that was being recorded amongst other things that they were shooting for this school project, and someone saw it and took it and posted it online, and then someone took it, edited it, posted it on their website, and then it went super viral, and all without his consent, all without his his knowing, and this documentary really explores all of the negative effects of that, because he received massive amounts of attention from like media outlets and like newspapers and people just constantly harassing him and bothering him and his family over this. Like they kept wanting to interview him, kept wanting to talk to him, wanted to get him on talk shows, wanted to the kids kept like harassing him and bullying him over the video and all this kind of stuff. And people kept, making money off of it without his consent and all kinds of stuff. And it just shows all the negative things that happened to him and his family. How he had to like stop going to school and how he had to basically hide away, and how like, reporters would be like in his neighbor's yard, like trying to take pictures and videos of him in his yard and him in his house with his family. And keep in mind, this kid is like a teenager. He's like a freshman in high school. He's like 14 years old when all of this goes down. And we get to see him now being interviewed and talking about it. And he's talking with young kids about it and all this kind of stuff. And we get a lot of kind of cultural looks at the changing aspects of what the internet has become now versus then, with social media now and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. None of those apparatuses really existed at that time to handle this. You know what I mean? The internet was kind of a wild west. It still is a wild west. You know what I mean? But um more for yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's actually a serious documentary. Adam Schofield says, "I thought the Star Wars kid film was a April Fool's was an April Fool's joke. More fool me." It's actually a serious documentary with a lot of kind of serious themes in it about like what happens to the people who go viral, or to this person specifically. I thought it was very eye opening, and we learned a lot about this person. And he actually got to meet the person who posted the video originally, or posted the re-edit of the video that went viral. And they had a sit down conversation over it, and the person apologized like profusely about it, and basically said, if I know what it would have done to your life, I would have probably have never done it. And it was very genuine and very open. It's a really good documentary. Really good. I think it's on Tubi now. Available stream on Tubi. I'm not sure, but it's a really good documentary if people want to check it out, or people are familiar with that original video. Um, this documentary came out in 2022. It is primarily done in French, so there are subtitles there. So I just want to make sure people know about that. But Region A Blu-ray, new audio commentary featuring the director Matthew Fournier, producer Pierre Matthew Fortin, and subject Ghislaine Raza. New audio commentary featuring Patrick Cotnoir of the George Lucas Talk Show and the Star Wars Insider's Brandon Winerdy. Interview with Fournier. You have a Ghislaine Raza Q&A. Extended interview with film professor Nina Duque. I think it was that professor in the movie. They bring in a professor in the documentary who specifically talks about the sociological internet age of teenagers and the difference between then and now. I thought it was very eye-opening. Star Wars Kid trailer and teasers, double-sided poster, reversible cover art. So this is putting out by, like I said, Canadian International Pictures. And let me go to The Spine of Night. This is a pretty decent animated film. It's kind of out there. It's kind of all over the place, to be quite honest with you. As you can see, the limited edition is already sold out. The Shudder releases tend to sell very, very quickly. I know they're only 1,000 units when it comes to their limited releases, so that's not a lot. This epic fantasy tale about the history of a land that never was begins with an ambitious young man who steals forbidden knowledge from a sacred plant. He falls to its darker temptations, and in doing so unleashes ages of suffering onto mankind. As his power grows over the years, it falls to people of different ilk and culture to attempt to stop him. Among those who stand against him are a daring tomb robber, star-crossed lovers, a maniacal necromancer, winged assassins, and an undying guardian. Yeah, this movie is an epic fantasy, kind of done in the style of heavy metal or a Ralph Bakshi film. If you're familiar with Ralph Bakshi, if you're familiar with heavy metal, those kind of 70s and 80s animation styles, very graphic in terms of like their visual aesthetic. They're not afraid of like gore and nudity. They're very open about that. They just kind of go for it. This movie is very trippy, very, very trippy. Feels like you're dropping acid and watching it. Great voice cast in it. You have Richard E. Grant, Lucy Lawless, Patton Oswalt. And let me get into the special features. There's a 2-disc set, 4K UHD, Region A Blu-ray, new 4K UHD encode presented in Dolby Vision, commentary with writer-director Philip Jalot and Morgan Galen King, and the making of documentary plus deleted scenes, plus a couple of short films in here as well. So that is the movie, The Spine of Night. If you have the Shudder streaming service, you can watch it right now. That's where I watched it. I basically keep the Shudder streaming service for times like these. Small, slow, but steady. I watched this, I think yesterday or the day before. Really good film. Really excellent film. I'm really tempted to buy this right now before it sells out. There's 265 copies left of the limited edition, and I was really taken with the movie. Keiko is a semi-professional boxer who has been deaf since childhood. Her biggest supporter is the owner of her struggling Tokyo gym, but due to the pandemic and his advanced age, her greatest refuge is under threat of closure. That's only one aspect of the movie. There's a lot more going on in here as well, in the movie as well. It is a sports movie in quotes because you're dealing with boxing, but it's not Rocky. It's nothing like that. It's not a Hoosiers. It's nothing like that. It's way more introspective. It's not really a sports movie. It's a sports movie adjacent. It's more about the character and the journey she's going on, this existential journey she's going on with the sport itself, where she's kind of struggling with her passion for it, struggling with her desire to keep pursuing it. And that's really what the movie's about, plus other things that are going on with her family, with the gym itself that she trains at, stuff like that. Really understated movie, laid back movie where there's way more going underneath the surface than is going on the surface level of the plot. I really was taken with the movie a lot. I gave it a pretty high score on Letterboxd. Unfortunately, when it comes to movies that I tend to love or really like a lot with the partner labels, they don't have a lot of special features. This only has the Blu-ray and the making of featurette plus a booklet with, I believe, conversations in it as well, and a new essay too. So that's about it. I thought it's really, really good. But I thought the movie was really, really good. It's called Small, Slow, but Steady. It came out in 2022. Okay, moving on from there. I didn't get to see this ETR Media release about the arcade games. I didn't get to see She Loved Blossoms, but I really wanted to. This movie sounds fascinating to me. I want to point it out briefly what the premise is. She Loved Blossoms more. Let's see. The three brothers build a time machine to bring back their long dead mother in this comedic yet deeply disturbing exploration of grief. That premise right there had me intrigued because you're dealing with time travel, which is fascinating in and of itself, but you're also dealing with grief, and you're dealing with grief through time travel or the attempt to deal with grief through time travel. And how many times have we lost someone near and dear to us that we wish we could go back in time and see, revisit, bring back? You know what I mean? Like that concept in and of itself is deeply layered to me. I didn't get to see Serious People or Savage Vows. This ETR media release here, this one right here, this is a documentary about the professional wrestler Sabu, who actually passed away less than a year ago. I believe he passed away in May of 2025. And he actually retired from wrestling in April of 2025 and then passed away not too long after that. But he was a wrestler who was in the various independent wrestling corporations that are around. He was in the WWE for a little bit in the mid 2000s. I think like 2005 to 2006 he was in the WWE for, but he was mostly known for being in ECW and various other independent circuits. This movie here, Paying for It, this is actually an adaptation of a graphic novel. This movie I thought was really excellent. I want this like greatly. I've tried. Let me see. Limited edition is down to 55 copies. I may have to snag this before it sells out. Like I really like this movie a lot. Yet again, another introspective movie, deeply layered in themes. Uh, yeah, I really like this movie a lot. So Chester, a cartoonist, and Sunny, a TV host, are a long-term committed romantic couple when Sunny introduces the idea of opening up their relationship. Chester begins sleeping with sex workers, forcing him to face his issues with intimacy and romance in the process. Um, Based on the best-selling graphic novel by acclaimed alternative cartoonist Chester Brown, Paying for It is a provocative, hilarious, and heartfelt personal take on romance and relationships from writer-director Soo-Kyin Lee. The film displays a maturity and thoughtfulness in the messy contradictions we may hold about love. That's from RodReaper.com. Um, it's Yeah, like I said, it's an interesting movie. It's set predominantly in the mid to late 90s, right on the cusp of the new millennium. And I could tell while watching, I'm like, there's no cell phones here. The TVs look like they're from a bygone era. And it's about this couple and what they're going through with dealing with love and relationships. And they both go on a different path. Initially, they start off in the movie as a couple that's together. And basically out of the blue, the woman tells the woman who is portrayed by portrayed by Soo-Kyin Lee. Um, no, Emily Lay is the actress, and she basically tells him that I've fallen in love with someone else, and he is initially kind of taken aback by that because why, who wouldn't have that honest reaction, and but he kind of goes with it, he kind of accepts it, kind of says, hey, whatever makes you happy makes you happy. So they start an open relationship that ends up them becoming no longer being in a relationship, and they kind of go on their same path, but they live in the same house. You know what I mean? So you get the dichotomy of what she's doing and what he's doing. And you kind of bounce back and forth. She is getting into relationships with people, and it's not really going well. She's just kind of running into guys or being in relationships with guys that are either abusive to her or just not the right fit or just not the right vibe. And he takes a completely different route. He's not going to be in relationships anymore. He is basically going to start I guess you could say, utilizing sex workers to fulfill his sexual needs. But he does it in a way that's very open and very honest and very practical. And he's also very like nice about it. Not nice about it, but like he treats them as if like, it's a job, they're human. He talks with them and whatnot like that. He treats them, you know, like treats them normally, right? He also works out all kinds of like budgeting out certain things and they're getting different prices and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting the way in which he goes about it, and you get these two people going on these different avenues in terms of exploring sexual gratification and sexual intimacy and romance and relationships, and it's fascinating movie, very deep, incredibly well done. I was really taken with the movie. I really like it a lot. It's got this unique, like, 90s indie movie tone to it, even though it's a movie that came out in 2024. Uh, Great movie. It's called Paying for It, and Film Movement is putting it out, and Film Movement puts out some really good stuff. Oh, let me get into what the special features are. Didn't even read them. Um, as an audio commentary by the director Sukian Lee and Chester Brown, and behind the scenes featurette. And there's also Sukian Lee and Chester Brown interview, bloopers, and then English subtitles. Like I said, this is based on the graphic novel. It's not a direct adaptation of the graphic novel called Paying for It. This movie is kind of reminds me of American Splendor. It reminds me of that type of movie. It's got that type of quirkiness vibe to it, that type of innocence to it. I don't know. I was really taken with it. When is American Splendor going to get a Blu-ray release? Somebody out there, please put out American Splendor. But yes, let's see. Oh, Motel Drive is a documentary about um, different motels and the clientele that stay at these motels. I didn't get to see it, but that's the premise of that. Factory 25's release of Micro Budget. This movie is actually available to stream on Tubi, and it's about the making of a micro budget movie. It's not a documentary; it's a fictional narrative, but it kind of reminds me of various other movies that are about movie making of low budget quality. Think of Bowfinger. Think of the movie Brigsby Bear, which I feel is a movie no one talks about. I feel like it had that vibe to it. I didn't get to see it, but Canny is putting out the movie The Illegal Immigrant. This is a fascinating movie, apropos for not only the time in which it was made, which was 1985, but apropos for now as well in contemporary times, because we are still dealing with immigration and all the conversations around it. Mabel Chung's debut unfolds as the quintessential American story, that of the illegal immigrant, doing anything they must to survive in the so called land of the free. After a raid on a Canal Street garment factory leaves Chung, targeted by immigration agents and mainland refugee or a ma- immigration agents, the mainland refugee resorts to a sham marriage with a reluctant acquaintance named Cindy to access a green card. An NYU graduate student project miraculously funded by Shaw Brothers Studio, Mabel Chung's The Illegal Immigrant was entirely shot on location in New York's Chinatown. In authentic gambling parlors and video stores amidst real life gangsters and undocumented immigrants cast as non professional actors. From this results a remarkable encapsulation of a time and place that no longer exists. A comic tragedy that establishes with unusual freedom the foundations of what would become Mabel Chong's immigration trilogy. A short few years later, with the success of An Autumn's Tale and Eight Tales of Gold. Yeah, this is a really, like I said, a really good movie with a lot of deep themes dealing with a subject that is just as relevant now as it was back in 1985. I think this movie would be a good double feature with the movie Chan is Missing, the movie that Criterion has put out. It fits right along with that. I was really, it would also fit along with um, The Wedding Banquet, the Ang Lee film. That it would fit along with that, as well as its remake that happened, what, last year, the year before? It would fit along with that as a double feature. I really like, um, yeah, why Adam Schofield's asking the important question, why has nobody made Cherry Rain yet? Nice reference to Bowfinger, which is apparently getting a 4K release now, of all things. But hey, I've got my Blu-ray of Bowfinger over there in my comedy section. Um, I saw that movie in the theater back in the day. Nostalgia trip for me. But this film here is obviously dealing with a lot more deeply dramatic subject matter. Let's see what we have here for special features. Interview with director Mabel Chung, bringing Cindy and Chow to life, selected scene commentary with Mabel Chung, a booklet with new writing by Sharina Chen. So, that is the movie The Illegal Immigrant. Now, let's move back up here. I Sell the Dead. I did not get to see. IFC Films is putting that out. Dominic Monaghan is in that movie. Merry from Lord of the Rings, Charlie from Lost. He's in that movie. It's a horror comedy from 2008, dealing with like grave robbers and stuff, from what I understand. House of Dreams, I did not get to see, but it looked intriguing as all heck to me. Holy Trinity is another movie by Art Label. This is not streaming anywhere. Well, it is and it isn't. You have to rent it from Vimeo to see it. You can rent it for $5 or you can buy it for 10 on Vimeo. And that's, I think, the only way you can see it. It looked interesting to me. After an incident huffing her drug of choice, a mysterious aerosol can from this ubiquitous Glam Hag brand, she finds herself with a newfound gift for speaking to the dead. Confused and more than a little curious about this strange turn of events, Trinity seeks the counsel of a colorful cast of characters from priests and drag queens to a witch and more, all of whom teach her their unique spiritual practices. This seemed crazy interesting to me. Really interesting. Unfortunately, there was no place for me to stream it other than having to rent it. The movie Holler, put out by IFC Films. This movie is really, really good as well. This is an indie film from the last couple of years, directed by Nicole Riegel, starring Jessica Barden. Pamela Adlon is in the film. And let's see. This film feels like a less harsh version of Winter's Bone. In a forgotten pocket of southern Ohio, where American manufacturing and opportunities are dying up, a determined young woman finds a ticket out when she is accepted to college. Alongside her older brother, Ruth Avery joins a dangerous scrap metal crew in order to pay her way. Together, they spend one brutal winter working with scrap yards during the day and stealing valuable metal from the once thriving factories at night. With her goal in sight, Ruth finds that the ultimate cost for an education for a girl like her may be more than she is bargained for, and she soon finds herself torn between a promising future and the family she would leave behind. Kind of, yeah. But the movie does sound incredibly cliche. Like, you've seen this type of movie before. I mean, the movie Coda which won Best Picture in 2021. Very similar premise. But this movie, I think, does it incredibly genuine. I think the movie is incredibly honest. The acting is really, really good in it. It's relatable on a few levels, and I think people will like this movie if they see it. Let's see. Let me see what we have here for special features. Audio commentary with writer-director Nicole Riegel and actors Jessica Barden and Gus Halper. Introduction to the film by executive producer Paul Feig. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know he was an executive producer on it. Holler short film with introduction by director Nicole Riegel. Deleted scenes. Filmmaker Deborah Granick in conversation with director Nicole Riegel and actress Jessica Barden. Filmmaker director Derek Cianfrance in conversation with director Nicole Riegel. Okay, now. Behind the scenes videos, behind the scenes photo gallery, booklet featuring new writing by producer Katie McNeil and film critic Bill Shibiri. Yeah, those extras are really nice. Those extras are really, really nice. Yeah, this is something I'm definitely going to look at getting at some point. Let's see, that's the IFC release. Let's see, scrolling back up. So this 1-2 special Dracula I did not see. It is available to stream, I think, on Canopy, but it's 170 minutes long, which I didn't have quite the time to do that. Crosstalk I watched years ago, and I'm pretty sure I talked about it here on Chasing Labels at some point, because it got an Umbrella Entertainment release from Australia. But Magnolia Pictures is putting out Boarding Gate. Now, heck, the limited edition's already sold out of this. As you can imagine, why? Like I said, this is an Olivier Assayas film. Olivier Assayas, like I mentioned before, is the director of the movies uh, Clouds of Sils Maria and Personal Shopper, that both have Criterion Collection Blu-rays. And Olivier Assayas is a great director. They've also directed. Oh, I can't remember that other movie that Criterion put out. Hold on, this is gonna bother me. Let me go actually over to Criterion. Let's see. Olivier Assayas. Yeah, there's Personal Shopper. Let's click on Personal Shopper. I think it was Summer Hours. That's the movie. And Irma Vep as well. Irma Vep and Summer Hours. Those are the other Olivier Assayas film. Cold Water as well. Oh, Carlos. I've had that in my collection for so long and have not seen it yet. But Clouds of Sils Maria, I loved a lot. Personal Shopper, I loved a lot. Summer Hours is very good. Irma Vep is very good. But yeah, those are some good Olivier Assayas films. But this film here is from director Olivier Assayas. Come this erotic thriller starring Asia Argento as Sandra, a former prostitute, and Michael Madsen as Miles, her one-time pimp turned high-powered businessman. Kind of what the movie's about. That's honestly only the first act of the movie. Barely the first act of the movie. I don't want to say what else is going on because I don't want to ruin the plot. Asia Argento is in the movie and she's kind of manipulating Michael Madsen. They have a past together. But there's more to the story than that, and more things happen as a result of their interactions. That's the only thing I'll say, because I don't want to give away anything else. But for special features here, there is the Rougher the Better Asia Argento on Boarding Gate, In Touch with Asia behind the scenes featurette, archival interview with Asia Argento, original trailer as well, and that is it. But as you can see, it's already sold out of the limited edition release, and the standard edition is only down to 177 copies. But for those of you who still want the limited edition release, I would pay attention to certain online retailers, Orbit DVD, Diabolic DVD, places like that, because they will get their allotment of the limited editions when they come out at the end of this month. So keep an eye out on their social media, or just go to their website and keep refreshing every day. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah, because that's all I've that's all I watched. That's all I watched. So that is kind of it for everything from Chasing Labels. Let me just go over check my notes real quick. Let's see, Ténèbres. Let's see, we talked about, like I said, Imprint, Kino, Severin, Treasured Film, Studio Canal, Vinegar Syndrome, the partner labels, all of that stuff. Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, there's nothing really else here that I saw that I can really have anything to say about. I do want to get into kind of the Eurocrime Rarities Volume 1. I do want to mention this because this is I just want to list off the movies that are in here. So, The Day of the Cobra, and I think each of these, that's Enzo G. Castellari. Now, we've seen his name before in a couple of like spaghetti Western-esque releases. So, and this movie has Franco Nero in it, so it's worth a watch. Let's see, The Rascals Gang, also known as Dirty Gang. That's in the set. The Iron Commissioner. And that's it. So it's only 3 movies. And you can see the special features here. I think these are all newly scanned. Yep, newly scanned in 2K. Newly scanned in 2K from 35mm original elements. Original camera negative, actually. Okay, that's important. I'm curious to how good these are going to look. And this is from VSL, their Vinegar Syndrome Labs release. And then we've got these French movies here. I have a little bit of extra time that I could talk about this. So we have The Cousins, or Les Cousins. We've got Qui, or Who. in French. Le Secret is, you guessed it, Le Secret in French. Let's see. And then we have Nuit Noire, which is Golden Night. That's another, 3-film set? Yeah. Golden Night, The Secret, Who, and Look Who's In. What's that, 3 or 4 movies? I can't tell. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 movies. It looks like special features on each disc. Actually, I don't think so. No. So it looks like you get all of the movies plus they list all the special features at the. Yeah, they list all the special features at the bottom. Actually, it's only 2 discs. So 3 movies on 2 discs plus special features. Okay, we're putting a lot of weight on those discs. And it just says newly restored from Vinegar Syndrome by Vinegar Syndrome from studio supplied masters. That leads me to believe that they may not be the best, but they'd be the best that you can get. Okay. So that is Ténèbres Françaises. And so now that is kind of like everything. All right. Now that's everything from Chasing Labels episode spy number 188. A bit of a shorter one this time because, it's only been a week since our previous episode. The next episode will be on the more normal timeline schedule. So we'll be having another episode in 2 weeks from now. So that will be April 20th. Now, by that point, we'll definitely be having, at least from my recollections, Criterion. Criterion will have their announcements. And that will be definitely included in the next episode. But that has kind of been it for everything for me here at Chasing Labels for this episode. Oh, some stuff that's coming up. Like I said, we've got our Criterion reviews this week. Our Criterion reviews that's coming up this week. I will be talking about the John Singleton Hood trilogy on 4K, which has Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, and Baby Boy. And then Steven will be talking about not this side of what is that movie called? Let's see, Trouble in Paradise, the Ernst Lubitsch film. He'll be talking about the 4K of that. I've seen the movie too, so maybe I'll throw in my 2 cents on it. We will also be having a new episode of the Unwatched Pile on April 11th, which is this Saturday. It will be Steven and I dusting off something off of our Unwatched Pile, pairing it up with something else in our collection. Plus, we will be having a guest who will be doing that as well. And recently I did an interview here on Chasing Labels with my friend Scott Saslow, who's been a guest here on Chasing Labels since the beginning. He was one of our earliest guests, and he works a lot with doing the layout and booklet designs for certain releases in the boutique label world, a lot of Arrow releases, and we talked about a lot of his recent highlights of his work from that. We talked about we talked about In the Mouth of Madness. We talked about Excalibur. We talked about the release of, actually let me take this down so you can let's see. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Let me change this. We talked about, like I said, the Teenage Mutant Turtles trilogy release, which he worked on, all kinds of good stuff. Yeah, it's good. We talked about all kinds of things that he's been working on, a little bit of his background and whatnot. But yeah, check out that interview. It is here on the channel. We talked for like an hour and 20 minutes, kind of geeking out over the releases he worked on and how great they are and all that kind of stuff. Of course, there are other interviews we've done here recently too. Jonathan Hertzberg from Fun City Editions. We talked about let's see, the person who works over at Radiance Films, who is in charge of their transmission releases like The Stuntman, which is a really nice release. I have to get the third one, which just came out, called Special Effects. I have to get that. Plus whatever else we've got cooking here on the Chasing Labels channel and the Chasing Labels world, if you will. And it's kind of, there's a plan, but it's also a loose set of plans. But anywho, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Whether you're watching in the future, whether you're watching now, whether you're listening in the future, whether you're listening now, any support, any help is greatly, greatly appreciated. And you can find this here on YouTube. You can find the audio here. You can find the video here. You can find the audio over on places like Apple Podcasts and Google and Spotify, places like that. But yeah, hey, keep on watching those movies because I know I will.